Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Summer of Love edition. Dominic, we are live from the Opoien Bar.
Crudy, it's the Summer of Love. Are you kidding me, man? It's been so long since we've been to this fine establishment. We appreciate Hawk opening up early for all of our friends to come down and hang out, talk some politics, have some drinks. It's been like 5 years, Crudy. It's been a long time. Great to be back. Fancy Brian back on the board today as well. Welcome back, my friend.
You know, I had to look around. I had to find the koi once again, rediscover the koi. But now I found it, buddy. I am ready to party. Are you
always
ready to party, Dom?
Born and bred, baby.
NBA Finals Game 6. Any prediction?
Bucks in 6, baby. Are you kidding me? It's already blowing up in Milwaukee. Street closures have started this morning. They are expanding the outdoor footprint for the Bucks game tonight. Apparently, to accommodate about 65,000 people in the Deer District at the Forum.
Plus the fans indoors.
Plus the fans.
So you're going to have something north of 80,000 fans in the Deer District. Let's hope the Bucks win.
Yes. High expectations. My understanding, it would be probably about the 5th largest city in Wisconsin, just the Deer District this evening.
That would be an awesome sight, Dom. Although if you tune into Righty Whitey Talk Radio, there are already predictions of victorious riots.
Well, you know something about that, don't you?
Well, who needs an occasion to start a riot, Dom? But again, we're at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. We encourage you, come down here, join the party, especially those in the Dane County, Madison, Wisconsin area. We're going to have some fine guests on this show, some hometown favorites, some home cooking, Dom. John Nichols from the Nation's going to join us about 3:30 today. John Nichols, Jessie Opoien, back to the scene of the crime. You remember when Jessie Opoien interviewed us just around the corner there, Dom, in the booth section, and it was the first time we ever did sort of a joint interview, Devil's Triangle style, and Jessie asked us, any regrets? And that was the day that we talked about the D-bag. The fact that I had called Chris Kapinga, one of Wisconsin's original D-bags, a D-bag. And I had some regret for the coarseness of my conversation. And you interrupted mid-answer and said, well, is he a D-bag?
Yeah, but is he?
And my answer, of course, absolutely.
See, the seed corn planted way back then with our pal, Jessie Opoien, political reporter over at the Cap Times in Madison.
And I just got to say, Jessie got the quote accurately.
A fine reporter.
Very few regrets. Another fine reporter joining us after 4 o'clock, the happy hour here at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Michael Cummins from the Isthmus. Big news happening over at the Isthmus. August will mark the relaunch. August 5th, they're going back into publication. The Isthmus is back, baby.
Nice.
We'll talk to Michael Cummins in the 4 o'clock happy hour. But Tom, since we started sportsy here, Sports Talk Live, what do you got for us?
Phone lines open, 844-967-2789.
Let's kind of stay there just for a minute. President Biden brought the Super Bowl victorious Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the White House. Stings a little to say it. It wasn't my beloved Packers. But Dominic, there was some political banter back and forth between the Tom Brady, the guy from Michigan, and the president. And Tom Brady, obviously, a Trumpster, a known Trump associate. Let's just put it that way. And by association, I would say D-bag. But no, Tom Brady.
Didn't he go golfing with the president, the former president at one point? He was like palling around with Trump.
I think he had a MAGA hat. I don't know. Maybe he's playing that back and forth, having it both ways. He did apparently accept some PPP money and got himself a real nice yacht. My understanding, the financially insecure 7-time Super Bowl winning. Didn't he win like 7 Super Bowls? I mean, it's getting to be a big number. But Tom Brady, perhaps the greatest of all time, and teased the president. We got the Brady sound, don't we? Fancy Brian back in the saddle again. So glad to have Fancy back. But let's play some of the sound. Dom, you call the shots.
Well, we have the president speaking first. Let's go there, if you would, Brian. You did the hard work today. Cut number 30.
We're making a pretty strong case to start calling Tampa the city of champions. And
That's going to be the city of Milwaukee here real soon, baby.
Clap, please. Clap, please, for Tampa. No offense, Tampa.
I'll hear some more from the president, talking a little light today, talking some sports. Cut 31.
3/4 of the way through the season, they found themselves in the middle of the pack. 7 wins and 5 losses. But this is a team that didn't fold and always got up, dug deep.
Dug deep. And Biden, he doesn't want to hear any old jokes. Let's hear cut 32, please.
You won't hear any jokes about that from me. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with being the oldest guy to make it to the mountaintop. That's how I look at it.
How do you feel about that, old man Crudy?
I look at it this way. I am nearly young enough to play in the NFL.
Right. President Biden welcoming the Tampa Bay Bucks to the White House. Cut 33.
In the middle of a long, dark winter, every Sunday, people were able to sit down and watch you play. You created memories that helped folks make it through and believe that we could get back to normal again.
Made memories.
Yeah, it was a hell of a year, that's for sure. Just a couple more, one more from Biden, then one from Brady. Biden talking about vaccines, cut 34.
Your stadium also became a lifeline for families in Tampa Bay this spring, administering nearly 200,000 vaccine shots. And y'all who don't have a shot, man, get one, okay?
Talking to you, Brady.
Go get a shot, Trumpy. Come on, man. We want to keep playing some football games. You want to try to win another Super Bowl. Perhaps the crowd should be all vaccinated. That would be helpful, so we don't have super spreader events.
Well, the other thing is when somebody gets COVID on there, even if they're vaccinated, if they get COVID, it's cool. You don't have to do all the contact tracing. But if somebody is not vaccinated, they get COVID, literally the entire team has to shut down almost. Everybody who's ever been near them has to go and do all this other stuff. So when you're vaccinated, you actually immunize your entire team.
So that's great advice from the president. Get your vaccines. And I got to tell you, Curdy, given the party that's going to be going on in Milwaukee tonight, chance to win the national championship with the NBA, with the Bucks, 65,000 plus people all jammed in together. I mean, I know it's going to be outside and it's a big venue, but that's a lot of people. I hope most people are vaccinated.
Could you imagine? Yep, sorry. Could you imagine if one of the Bucks players got COVID tonight, like was tested positive at all?
Giannis's brother had to sit down or stay away from the team a couple days ago.
It ruined the guy's Masters already. Just get your freaking vaccine players.
But didn't he come back and win the Masters or win the next golf tournament? Yes, get your vaccines. Also, I guess we have Brady here talking some trash.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Let's get to it, Curdy.
Play it for the people. Fancy Brian, Tom Brady talking trash to Joe Biden. Let's not forget Brady. He was more of a Trumpster guy.
We found our rhythm. We got on a roll. Not a lot of people, think that we could have won. And in fact, I think about 40% of the people still don't think we won.
I understand that.
You understand that, Mr. President?
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. It's good to laugh, but it's a shame we are in the situation that we are in.
Tom Brady will receive death threats before sunset. That's my prediction.
Oh, man.
I'll give you 3-2.
Come on. All the Trumpsters love you until they don't.
Do we have more Brady, or is that the singular Brady sound?
That was it.
That's probably enough.
It's enough of that guy.
So we've got the Super Bowl champions visiting the White House. And even the Trumpster-loving, Tom Brady was in attendance and seemingly embraced, a little humor back and forth with Joe Biden. But do you recall it wasn't so long ago that champions stopped going to the White House? Apparently it was too much winning or something. Maybe it was the steady diet of
hamburgers from fast food.
Big Macs.
Oh, it's just terrible.
Big Macs for everybody.
Big spender, that former president.
Although right now, because, we had a little live show going on at the Atomic Koi, one of Hawk's Fighter neighborhood bars, the Summer of Love continuing. And, I had forgotten they play the movies here on the wall
right
during the bar hours. And they got Happy Gilmore going on over here. So we're perhaps going to have to drop a couple of Happy Gilmore references during the course of the day.
Wow, it's only appropriate.
The price is wrong. But above beyond that, a Big Mac would be damn good right now. I would eat one of Trump's cold congealed Big Macs, mostly because I had some work to do today. I haven't eaten my lunch yet.
Oh, big fella like you should never skip a meal, Crudy. You don't want your blood sugar getting low. You get a little crabby.
Well, I see they got the ice cream shop next door. At least there'll be ice cream later. Something with cherries, I'd prefer.
Well, Joe Biden brought ice cream back. Thank you, Joe.
Brought it back here or just in general?
Just in general, man. Remember Bill Press wrote that piece last week, our pal last week, our guest last Friday. Yeah, Joe Biden made it cool to eat ice cream again. He's been out on tour, man. Joe, everywhere he goes, Joe's getting some ice cream.
Joe Biden also made it cool, apparently, to go back to the White House as Super Bowl champion, or really the champion of any sporting event, a national champion. That always used to be a big honor, going to the White House.
Well, it was until that last guy got in there and made it a hellhole.
All the way back to Forrest Gump. Now, do you think the Bucs will get invited to the White House to see Joe Biden?
Absolutely.
My only fear, Bucs in 6. That was actually predicated on a bad prediction. The year, I think it was Brendan Jennings. I didn't even know this story. I read it in the paper this morning. Made a prediction, the Milwaukee Bucks in 6, and the Bucks got swept in 4 that year. They had made the playoffs as a sub-500 team, and that's been something of a joke. The Bucks, the perennial can't get it done team, like Bucks eliminated in 6. And now the fanship, the team, and even you, Salvia, have embraced these soon-to-be champion Milwaukee Bucks and this Bucks in 6. But if it doesn't work out tonight, man, they are screwed.
If it doesn't work out tonight, it's Bucks in 7, baby. You just keep on moving.
That's not how it works precisely. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates live from the Atomic Koi, one of Hawks' finer neighborhood bars.
I think God would want us to go to Milwaukee.
Jackass.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
President Biden's American Jobs Plan would invest in clean energy jobs, move the country towards clean power, and create millions of good-paying jobs for families like yours. It's the most progressive plan to create American jobs in decades. Members of Congress need to hear that this plan would help you and your family. Join Move On's fight to help working families. Text ACT to 668-366 to join Move On. Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by MoveOn.org Civic Action.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Listen to Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
Thanks for the job you do. It sure showed in the Supreme Court.
But I just want to thank you guys for your program.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't get enough credit for this. We've never had a voice ever in this state.
So I think you guys really need to take a bow.
Thanks again for your work. It's really important.
You need these guys. They're there for all of us.
You're welcome, everybody, and thank you.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Lazy yellow moon coming up tonight, shining through the trees.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open for our fair audience today. As always, toll free, talk or text. Hit us up, 844-967-2789.
Fishing in the dark, Dom. The Atomic Koi. You get it?
I got it.
Come on, man. It's like Dom gets this very serious look like, I didn't pick that song.
Why are we playing?
Technically, he didn't pick any song, so it's okay.
I I know you said dealer's choice. He said dealer's choice, fancy.
Yeah, but I assume they play good music.
Come on, man. Fishing in the
I know. It's thematic. I got it. Thank you, Brian.
In honor of the Atomic Koi, we're broadcasting from one of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars here. You know, picking and a grinning. We're in the back of the bar, as only you would expect us to be. And Dom, there is some breaking news over at the CNN. Trump allied, unfamiliar, but this apparently an important coffee boy in the Trump organization, Trump ally Tom Barrack, charged with acting as an agent of a foreign government.
Not another one.
Tom Barrack, a former advisor, just keep that in mind, to former President Donald Trump, was charged Tuesday with illegal foreign lobbying on behalf of the United Arab Emirates for what federal prosecutors described as an effort to influence foreign policy positions of both the 2016 Trump presidential campaign and the subsequent incoming administration. Barrack, looks a lot like Barack, is charged in a 7-count indictment with acting as an agent of the United Arab Emirates between April of 16 and April of 18. He is also charged with obstruction of justice. Why is it that Trumpsters never just come clean? I think perhaps, if I was guilty of some serious crimes, I might be obstructing a little justice
deny, and then, you got me.
And making false statements to federal law enforcement agents. That's the denial part, I suspect. Barrack was the chairman of Trump's inaugural committee. Little asterisk here for now, though.
There's lots of asterisks to this story.
Although the charges appear unrelated to the inauguration. But if you roll up on a guy who was the chair of the inaugural committee, and for those unfamiliar, Don, we've seen some reporting that there might have been some overinflation and some shenanigans going on involving not just Trump, but also perhaps the first daughter.
Ooh. Curdy Amora here from CNN. According to the indictment, Barrack and 2 other men charged Tuesday, Matthew Grimes of Aspen, Colorado, and Rashid Sultan Rashid Al-Malik Al-Shahi, a UAE national, capitalized on Barrack's status as a senior outside advisor to the Trump campaign to advance the interest of and provide intelligence to the UAE while simultaneously failing to notify the Attorney General that their actions were taken at the direction of senior UAE officials. Barrack was directly and indirectly in contact with UAE senior leadership, according to the charges. He referred to al-Shahi as its secret weapon to promote its foreign policy agenda in America. Well, it's charging this guy, though. That's great.
Now, there's more reporting here. Another source, one of my preferred, the Raw story, Don Brad Reed reporting, the chairman of the former President Donald Trump's 17th inauguration has been arrested amid a continuing investigation into inauguration funds that were allegedly misused.
Allegedly.
Now, that's how Brad Reed's reporting that. That's not how we know it to be at this point, but let me see what else is contained in this article. Again, a breaking story, Dom. NBC News' Tom Winter reports the longtime Trump friend, being called a friend here, Dom, up until now. They were friends up until now. Trump friend Thomas Barrack was arrested by federal agents in LA on Tuesday. The United States Department of Justice now says that it is charging Barrack for participating in a legal political influence campaign at the behest of the government of the UAE. Acting Assistant Attorney General Mark Lesko of the Justice Department's National Security Division said that Barrack and 3 other co-defendants are being charged with acting and conspiring to be agents of the UAE. But here's an additional part. Additionally, Barrack faces separate charges of obstruction of justice and making multiple false statements. I guess we know all this so far. Is there more here? Barrack has been the subject of much legal scrutiny over the years, including an investigation to potential tax fraud in Italy.
Wow.
Eating some spaghetti and not claiming it. He was also reportedly been under scrutiny of investigators for his role in allegedly pushing the Trump administration to give Saudi Arabia the green light for a major expansion of its nuclear energy program. Almost like he was lobbying
for a foreign
interest.
Yes, weird how that happens. Not the first one around Donald Trump, and certainly not the first Trump associate or advisor to face criminal charges.
Dominic, I think we were at the inauguration, and we were trying to finish up your bottle of scotch. And the Women's March had happened that day, and we found ourselves at one of DC's finer bars, saw, a lot of fine women and a lot of scared Republicans that day, Dom. But we also met some very well-heeled people in the lobby of the
weren't
hotel.
they wearing fur coats?
She was wearing like $100,000 mink. And the husband, part of the Coptic Christian...
I'd say about a $10,000 mink, but go ahead.
You didn't like her mink?
I just say about a $10,000
You've seen better minks?
I'm just saying.
Are you sure that's not the scotch?
I'm pretty sure.
Because there's a lot of scotch.
The scotch, just for the record, the scotch is always speaking, so we're good.
Yeah.
But yes, well-heeled,
Is it speaking down?
Not
but
yet.
they were scuttling off to dinner, Tom,
Oh,
if I
yes.
recall, with
Yes.
Reince Priebus, the incoming chief of staff for new President Trump, and obviously the inaugural parties going on all around town. You and I didn't get invited to any of the inaugural parties, certainly not with the incoming president's chief of staff. But Dom, he said, well, we gave a fair amount of money. They were buying access from day one. I mean, we didn't even know, but we didn't
even
standing
ask.
there next to an actual billionaire. Although apparently the wife's mink sort of, off the rack. Come back with us. Devil's Advocates live at the Atomic Koi, doing a little fishing in the mid-afternoon, looking for a good time. You can be a part of it. Join us down here. The Koi in Fitchburg. Devils on the road again. The Summer of Love brought to us locally by Chad's Design Build, our fine sponsor. More Devils. We'll be right back.
Moving slow. You and me going fishing in the dark, lying on our backs and counting the stars.
Would that be obstruction? Yes.
Jackass!
In time, you will know the true power of Devil Radio 92.7. It is your destiny.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
This is Chad Spate. Are you thinking about improving or expanding your home? At Chad's Design Build, we're committed to making your home comfortable, healthy, attractive, durable, and sustainable. In fact, those commitments spell our name. And we deliver these services with our outstanding team of professionals who will respect you and your home. Visit our website at chadsdesignbuild.com to learn more about how we are building a better world, one remodeled home at a time.
Get ready to get local. Saturdays at 11 a.m., Dane by Local and 92.7 FM Devil Radio bring you Let's Get Local, a new program featuring area businesses and nonprofits that make our community unique and special. So tune in Saturdays.
Bezos in space. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' reaction after his 10-minute flight into space and back to Earth.
Best day ever.
His brother, an 18-year-old Dutch teen, and 82-year-old Wally Funk, who was one of 13 women to train as an astronaut in the 1960s but never made it to space, were also on board. Funk, during the news conference after the flight, thanked Bezos.
I want to thank you, sweetheart, because you made it possible for me. I've been waiting a long time to finally get it up there.
Bezos telling reporters and the crowd, people can talk all they want about the Earth being threatened, but seeing it from space.
One thing to recognize that intellectually, it's another thing to actually see with your own eyes how fragile it really is, and that was amazing.
SpaceX and Tesla owner Elon Musk plans to send his private clients into orbit for tens of millions of dollars each. First flight is coming up in September. I'm Tim McGuire.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
how can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back and a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details and 724.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Republican lawmakers in the Wisconsin legislature are proposing legislation that would lower the age to obtain a concealed carry permit in Wisconsin from 21 to 18 and allow permit holders to have guns and vehicles on school grounds. The proposals have been introduced in previous legislative sessions and are not expected to receive support from Governor Tony Evers. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes joins the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate today, joining a crowded field of candidates looking to unseat incumbent Senator Ron Johnson. Barnes entered the race with a campaign launch video this morning, promising to change the game. The Devil's Advocates radio show will be broadcasting live this afternoon from the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Join the Devil's Advocates for their next stop on the Summer of Love and stick around for a listener reception after the show. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. My happy spot. We're at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Dom, we're here for a live program. We're trying to get the people hooked up. We got people starting to show up for this little political soiree, Dom.
It's a political party, man. It's always been that way. It will always be that way.
It is a political party. And one of the political parties, one of the headlines, I don't know if you noted, Dom, we finally have the Republicans' choices for the January 6th Select Committee. And Jim Jordan, as our pal Matt Flynn would say, GYM, Jim Jordan, he's number 1 on the list. And he's already trying to sabotage it, Dom. We would expect no less of the man. Greg Sargent over the Washington Post. I'm going to start with this little column, this opinion piece, if we could, Dom. First, a plea. If and when the Republicans who serve on the January 6th Select Committee do everything in their power to sabotage a full accounting, let's not treat this as just Republicans being Republicans. We're not obliged to accept GOP banality, bad faith, and contempt for the public interest. It's just normal features of our politics, one that we must all tolerate because, well, that's just how Republicans conduct politics these days. This is thrust upon us by the news of House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, he's the Republican, Dom, choices for the committee to investigate the insurrection. One is Rep. Jim Banks, a Republican from Indiana, who has already signaled his intent to sabotage the proceedings. Well, I thought it would be Jim Jordan, Dom. Banks released this extraordinary statement, and I'm going to read it for the audience. If Democrats were serious about investigating political violence, this committee would be studying not only the January 6th riot at the Capitol, but also the hundreds of violent political riots last summer when many more innocent Americans and law enforcement officers were attacked. Now back to Sargent's writing. Oozing with phony victimization, Banks added that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi created the committee solely to malign conservatives. Just feels that way.
Oh, come on. They had the opportunity. They decided not to engage. And so now you get Nancy going to bring the hammer down. Welcome to the world.
Dominic, once you're done weeping for the plight of those malign conservatives, please note this. The Select Committee comes after an extensive effort by Democrats to create a bipartisan commission with a process that was extraordinarily fair to Republicans. And guess what? Banks voted against the bipartisan commission. So did 3 of McCarthy's other picks for the new committee. Reps Jim Jordan from Ohio, Kelly Armstrong, and Troy Nichols. Only one of McCarthy's new picks, Rep. Rodney Davis, voted for the bipartisan panel, and 3, Banks, Jordan, Nichols, voted to object to the certification of Joe Biden's electoral votes on the day of the riot.
Wow.
And that wasn't pre-game. That was post-game show, Dom.
Crudy, banks appeared to be McCarthy's most important choice. As Political reports, McCarthy sees this as a way to elevate banks up the leadership ladder. It is remarkable and telling that someone being groomed for higher GOP glory has unabashedly declared that the insurrection should not be the primary focus of the committee's investigation. Remember, Rep. Elise Stefanik, a Republican from New York, was elevated in large part due to her public role in elevating the very lies about Donald Trump's 2020 loss that inspired January 6th.
Loss, you take that back.
Banks' declaration that the panel should look at leftist violence, which he casts as a more serious threat than what we saw on January 6th, is just a continuation of the game Republicans have played for 6 months now. It's an ugly GOP game, writes Sargent from the Washington Post. Republicans have insisted, any accounting must be broadened this way to obscure public understanding of some large and lethal truths. Right-wing radicalization is far and away the primary threat to democratic stability in this country, and Republicans themselves have actively fed and exploited that radicalization, heavily implicating them in what happened. McCarthy's choice of Davis and Armstrong suggests how he could have handled this. All 5 picks could have been relatively public-spirited, as those 2 Republicans are, at least in the context of today's GOP. But
that's a low bar.
But the appointment of 2 people whose obvious role is sabotage, like Banks and Jordan, played a big role in sowing doubts in 2020, shows that McCarthy must do all he can to muddy up a full accounting. Historian Kevin Cruz draws a comparison with the Kerner Commission, which was created by Lyndon Johnson to study the urban riots of the 60s. Republicans who served on it, Cruz told me, were ones who believed in its mission, who sincerely wanted to get to the root cause of urban unrest. The commission, they continued, did not include Republicans who saw the urban unrest as a tool to continue inciting white backlash, rather than finding solutions that would address the problems underlying the rest, and in doing so, potentially unite the country. That's a nice thought. That's a nice thought.
Fair-minded Republicans that might have serious intent behind their actions. That is just a nice thought, because there's very few of those that exist in this world. I don't believe it.
Appointing people such as Banks and Jordan to the January 6th committee, he said, is akin to appointing Strom Thurmond to the Kerner Commission. Thurmond was a segregationist Dixiecrat, had by then switched to the GOP. Just as segregationists disdained their Kerner Commission's fundamental goals, Cruz said, so do Banks and Jordan have contempt for the January 6th inquiry.
Dominic, I'm going to take it a little bit further here. We're reading from Greg Sargent at the Washington Post. Our location, Hawks at Opoien, right here in Fitchburg, man. You can join us at this party, but let me read on. At the bottom, Republicans cannot allow January 6th to become anchored in our collective understanding as a uniquely revelatory event that is worthy of an exceptional level of serious examination, precisely because the stability of the country demands it. They cannot allow January 6th to be understood for what it truly revealed: the ongoing presence of a broader movement, one aligned with Trump and a non-trivial faction of the GOP, one that's anti-democratic to its core. It's a movement that is only metastasizing, and it's even benefiting from a cadre of intellectuals who are developing an ugly and disconcerting ideological foundation for it. It is a movement that sees despised electoral outcomes as subject to nullification through highly dubious and potentially illegal means, including mob intimidation and violence. I still feel like that's how they won Florida under Bush v. Gore, right? The Brooks Brother riots.
Right, yes.
Just wouldn't bang down the windows.
Just intimidate.
Let me read a little further. But this level of bad faith about a matter of involving nothing less than the durability of our political order requires a response. Democrats say no to it, and the media has to, as Brian Butler notes, the sort of GOP bad acting can no longer be covered as a given. Indeed, the basic facts of the situation, like McCarthy's choice of Banks and Jordan, should be unflinchingly rendered as what they are truly are: central to a broader campaign to cover up an effort to overturn our political order, a cover-up saturated in a level of banality, bad faith, and contempt for the public interest that has no place in a functioning democracy. Greg Sargent at the Washington Post. Is that what we are, a functioning democracy?
Well, I mean, every day that we're
all
here,
evidence to the contrary.
I mean, it is an act, right? It's not a state. So isn't that kind of what we've heard before? It's brutal. My understanding, though, because this is the select commission created by the Democrats in the House, Nancy Pelosi has final say over who of those Republicans will be on that committee, even over McCarthy's picks. So does Pelosi allow Jordan and Banks to stay on this committee? I'd like to see her. I mean, if you want to be serious about it, you got to pull these partisan hacks. And I know it's going to be partisan, but these guys are super partisan hacks, right? I mean, do you really care? You had the opportunity, as Sargent noted, extensive efforts to get a bipartisan effort to look at the causes and effects and what happened on January 6th, and they couldn't get it done. The Republicans voted no. And so now Nancy Pelosi's come up, and because we need answers, we need more than what we have, or we're finally
You'll get nothing in like it's
we're getting some justice. 8 months yesterday for a guy walking around with a Trump flag in the Capitol. I would note Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong fame did 9 months, he tweeted out, for selling bongs. And I totally get the comparison, but I would say, as we discussed yesterday, yes, the 8 months probably about right in our humble opinions. But what the problem is, selling bongs, getting 9 months, that's terrible. I mean, it should be 0 months. It should be just engaging in enterprise. That's all that is. So that's, I think, more of an issue with the prohibition in this country than it is about whether or not 8 months is a satisfactory sentence for the gentleman yesterday.
Dominic, I don't know if you noted, but a DEA agent arrested today, apparently being reported by the Raw story. He was at the Capitol insurrection, this DEA, this government agent, and he thought it'd be a good thing for a cigar brand he's been working on the side. Like he was going to lift his brand.
Oh, really?
By being at the insurrection.
Insurrection is bastard cigars.
Right. I mean, is it so interwoven? Obviously, my business, I wear my politics on my sleeve. You know what I do for a living, right, Dom? But I mean, do you go riot and make it into an infomercial for your brand? Is that,
if you're an acting DEA agent, can you have sidelight gigs selling cigars on the side? I guess I'm not clear what the rules are.
I don't know.
Can
they drive an Uber?
Right?
I'm not clear what the
but either
rules
way,
of employment
but you're
are.
telling me, and I did not see that, a active duty DEA agent arrested.
That is my
we've
understanding.
Seen police officers arrested. We've seen active military arrested. We've seen former military arrested. My understanding, about 10% of the arrestees had some sort of military and or police background, which is greater than the population of those folks in this country.
That's why you call them the true patriots.
Is that what it was?
Let me read briefly. A former drug enforcement administration agent has been arrested for taking part in the January 6th Capitol riots and for allegedly lying to an FBI agent about his actions.
Well, you're not supposed to do that, right? Former DEA. If you're lying to the DEA, what happens to you? I mean, these hypocrites, man. I mean, if it's one thing to go out and then break the law, but when the man comes knocking on your door and you used to work for the man, you know what the repercussions are, man. You know what you're supposed to do. Yeah, that was me. I'll take my punishment.
Dominic, it gets better. He's going to have a hard time claiming he didn't know he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
In a new criminal complaint unsealed on Tuesday, an FBI special agent alleges that the California-based former DEA agent Mark Sammy Ibrahim not only allegedly breached the Capitol building on January 6th, but even posed for photos outside the Capitol while flashing his DEA badge and gun.
What? He gets to keep his badge and gun?
During an interview with an FBI agent after the riots, Ibrahim admitted to being at the Capitol building during the attack, but denied that he had displayed his DEA badge and firearm. Unfortunately for him, the FBI had obtained photographs of Ibrahim at the Capitol doing exactly that. Additionally, Ibrahim, I don't know how to say his name, I just keep saying it, falsely told the agent that he only went to the riot at the behest of a friend whom he says was asked by the FBI to monitor the event. You know, just checking it out. And that might seem quite strange if you didn't realize he was an DEA agent still in possession of his gun and badge at that time. So when we talk about a former DEA agent, I think he's been discharged since January 6th, right? The agent interviewed Ibrahim's friend, however, and learned that the former DEA agent crafted this story. That's what they call it now.
Is that crafting? What a nice way to put it. Back in my day, they just call him a lying bastard.
Crafted this story about how his friend was at the Capitol to assist the FBI in an attempt to, and this is a quote, cover his ass. The friend also told the agent that Ibrahim had been thinking about his next move after leaving the DEA and wanted the protest to be his stage for launching a Liberty Tavern political podcast. He wants to do a podcast, Dom. Everybody wants to be a podcaster.
How
or a
is
radio
engaging
star.
in an insurrectionist riot to overthrow a democratic process? How is that a liberty move? I'm just curious.
Well, it's a multi-streamed revenue plan.
Yeah.
It's the Liberty Tavern political podcast, and it's a cigar brand. Smoke them if you got them. Come join us. We are at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg, one of my favorite happy places. Hawk's Fighter Neighborhood Bar, the Summer of Love. It continues. Join us. Be a part of it. Thanks to Chad's Design Build, our fine local sponsor.
I tell you, I gotta plead ignorance on this thing, because if anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here that sort of thing was frowned upon.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Jackass!
Social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
President Biden's American Jobs Plan would invest in clean energy jobs, move the country towards clean power, and create millions of good-paying jobs for families like yours. It's the most progressive plan to create American jobs in decades. Members of Congress need to hear that this plan would help you and your family. Join Move On's fight to help working families. Text ACT to 668-366 to join Move On. Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by MoveOn.org Civic Action.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates, inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
I'm not a big fan of righty-whitey talk radio, but if I'm going to tune in even for an hour a day, I really wish they'd have a live host. You know, they've still got a Rush Limbaugh show, and the guy's been dead for a couple months.
Playing like Best of Dead Rush.
Do you know how weird that is? I make you this promise, Dom, after I'm dead, you don't have to keep playing my sound bites. Although I'm hoping you go first.
The Devil's Advocates, weekdays from 2 to 5.
And say, oh. Space Lord, mother.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live from the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. One of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars, one of our favorite bars in the Madison area. Come down and join us if you can. And of course, you can always hit us up on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we got more billionaires blasting into space. I think we're going to talk about that some the next hour. But right now, we like to set aside this segment of the show for the nominations and the eventual awarding of the D-Bag of the Day. And again, it originated, the conversation about the D-Bag, at least a big part, the atomic coin was integral to this whole designation. And of course, Chris Kapinga, the original D-bag from the great state of Wisconsin.
Well, he was our muse.
Not the only D-bag, but a significant D-bag here in the state of Wisconsin. Yes, he was our muse, and hopefully just Jessie Opoien is feeling up to joining us. I understand she's a little under the weather. Going to try to troop her through and join us here at the Atomic Koi Dam. But what was the broader point here?
Well, the historical premise, man. D-bag of the day was created essentially right here at the Atomic Koi all those years ago.
Well, I thought I was kind of fluffing her up for you, Judge. You
I
know,
got
winter
one.
rules.
I got one. Let me throw out my D-bag, Crudy, to no one's surprise. A former Trump cabinet member, Wilbur Ross, of the Hill, reporting in a letter to congressional leaders that was released on Friday, Commerce Department Inspector General, the IG over at Commerce, you know, the department he ran, Peggy Gustafson, the IG, said that her office had provided evidence to the Justice Department that Wilbur Ross, had not been truthful in a pair of House committee hearings in 2018, but federal prosecutors declined to bring perjury charges against the former secretary. Quote, our investigation established that the then secretary misrepresented the full rationale for the reinstatement of the citizenship question during his March 20th, 2018 testimony before the House Committee on Appropriations and again on March 22nd in front of Ways and Means. During congressional testimony, the then secretary stated his decision to reinstate the citizenship question was based solely on a DOJ request. Solely, I tell you, Crudy. The letter was first reported by the news outlet Government Executive. A spokesman for the Commerce Department's Inspector General's office told The Hill that the DOJ under Trump administration made the decision not to bring charges against Ross in January of last year. New administration, Crudy, of course, but a DOJ spokesman has not immediately been available for comment.
So are you nominating the DOJ for not prosecuting Wilbur Ross or Wilbur Ross for the underlying question? Which one's the...
It is certainly for Wilbur Ross. You are a monumental D-bag, sir. And let's also remember, this went to the Supreme Court. You have the Wilbur Ross testifying in Congress to a case on this topic eventually made it to the Supreme Court, the citizenship question. And people, I think, at the time were questioning whether or not Wilbur Ross was being truthful in his testimony. Certainly he was not. Now, I don't know what the statute of limitations is for, lying to congressional committees, but the current DOJ, you can reverse that, right? Perhaps we'll get some answers from our pal, Jim Santel, later this week.
Well, Dominic, there were accusations flying in the committee today, and it leads to the next nominee for D-bag of the day, Dr. Fauci. Angrily suggested on Tuesday that Senator Rand Paul, you know that guy, Dom. I'm not sure if that's a toupee or not, but we met him the one time. He's approximately your height. Big of heart, if not stature. Dom.
I think it was a toupee, but, I have this natural head of hair, so I'm not one to judge.
Fauci angrily suggested on Tuesday that Senator Rand Paul was lying about the origins of COVID-19, and pull it up on the rundown. We might have some sound of this.
Yeah, I believe we do.
The confrontation occurred at a Senate Health Committee after Paul said that Fauci could be punished with jail time for allegedly false testimony to Congress about the funding of a lab in Wuhan, China. So apparently, it's a big cover-up. The lab in Wuhan funded by what? Fauci's own personal resources?
I'm not clear. We have that, Brian. Let's play the interchange, the exchange here, cut number 48.
Let me finish. You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans. Right. You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
Jackass. Oh. Fauci laying it down. I mean, I'm glad you said it officially, because if he only said it, you don't know what you're talking about. He didn't say it officially then.
With all due respect,
D-bag, you don't know what you're talking about.
Do we have more sound of the Paul Fauci round two? No, that's all the sound. Paul interrupted again. They took animal viruses. This, according to Senator Rand Paul, the self-certified ophthalmologist. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increase their transmittability to humans, how can you say that's not a gain of function? It is not, Fauci insisted. It's again, Senator Paul, it's a dance, and you're dancing around this. Dance off, bro, because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic. Fauci responded, now you're getting into something. Fauci complained, if the point you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from the EcoHealth to the Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2, that's where you're getting. Let me finish. We don't know, Paul remarked. All of the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsible for those who funded the lab, including yourself. And then Fauci one more time. And I think he's ready to kick Rand Paul's ass right about now, sort of do the neighbor tackle on him.
I don't know, man. Those two guys, that would be an interesting fight.
I resent the lie that you are now propagating, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible. And then a little bit more. Rand Paul, at this point, shouting, no one is saying those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is the gain of function research you're doing in that lab, and the NIH funded it, meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth. You know, so is he lying, or did he cause an international pandemic? I'm not even sure what Rand Paul's talking about. One more. I'm not obfuscating the truth. Fauci shot back. Are you implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals? I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you. You, sir. You, Senator Rand Paul, according to Dr. Fauci and myself, you, sir, are a D-bag of the day.
D-bag of the day.
Unless you had one more you want to sneak in at the end.
I'm out of time. Great selections today. As always a plethora to choose from.
A plethora. Would you say we have a plethora of pinatas, El Guapo? Coming back, we are at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. It is a party. You should be here already. Hurry up. Get to the Atomic Koi. More Devil's Advocates.
Well, it looks like a giant. Johnson.
You are entirely and completely.
This is Rocker. I'm sitting on the patio at Salvatore's Tomato Pies on East Wash, and I'm enjoying a floral-forward Manhattan called As Long as There's Whiskey. It features Rocker Rye whiskey with a hint of blueberry, a touch of smoky Amaro, and it's finished off with St. Germain. It's a Rocker Rye Manhattan at Sal's Tomato Pies on Livingston. Ask for it by name, As Long as There's Whiskey. You can also enjoy Rocker Spirits at the Wisco and Tiny's Tap on Willie Street. You must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Family Feud on Mag Sync Radio. I'm your host, Rob Roberts. Rocker, we asked 100 Madisonians, what is the favorite part of Mag Sync Radio?
Oh, that's easy, Rob. Live music performed in the Devil's Lair every Saturday night.
The survey says, number 2. So close, Rocker. Jimmy K, for the win. What is your favorite part of Mag Sync Radio?
Local music.
That's right, Jimmy. Listen to local music every Saturday from 6 p.m. to midnight on Devil Radio 92.7 FM.
You are listening to WTTN Columbus, W224EG Madison, always streaming at devilradio927.com.
News. I'm Tim McGuire. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky tells the Senate committee about half the people eligible for the shots have been vaccinated against the coronavirus, and many places, however, have far fewer people getting vaccinated, leading to a surge in cases driven by the Delta variant.
Areas with limited vaccine coverage are allowing for the emergence and rapid spread of the highly transmissible Delta variant. CDC has released estimates of variants across the country and predicted the Delta variant now represents 83% of sequenced cases.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell says it just doesn't make sense that people are not getting vaccinated.
These shots need to get in everybody's arm as rapidly as possible, or we're going to be back in a situation in the fall that we don't yearn for, that we went through last year.
Jeff Bezos' journey into space didn't last long. The Blue Origin rocket blasted off. Then some 10 minutes later,
Touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard's first human crew.
on the flight with the Amazon founder, his brother, an 18-year-old from the Netherlands, and an 82-year-old aviation pioneer from Texas, the youngest and oldest to ever fly in space. 82-year-old Wally Funk, one of 13 women who went through the same test as NASA's all-male astronauts in the early 60s, but was denied space, finally made it there today and earned her astronaut pin.
Best fit I've ever had in my life.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
Wally Funk is now on my list of people that I would most like to meet in the country. She's America's new sweetheart.
Along with the ball and Skittles tossed during their few minutes of weightlessness, the four carried a pair of aviator Amelia Earhart's goggles and a piece of fabric from the original Wright Flyer on today's flight. Heading into the close, the Dow is up more than 580 points. This is AP News.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back and a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details and 724.
The Devils advocates are taking the political party to the Opoien in Fitchburg as the Summer of Love continues. Join the Devils advocates live broadcast Tuesday, July 20th, 2 to 5 p.m. from the Opoien in Fitchburg, one of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars. Join our Devil Radio family. Enjoy the political party to follow, see old friends, and make new ones. Come let your freak flag fly at the Opoien. Tuesday, July 20th, broadcast at 2. Thanks to Chad's Design Build for sponsoring the Summer of Love.
Chad's Design Build is proud to sponsor the Summer of Love on Devil Radio. We are committed to our community to demand better for each and every person. Doing the right thing isn't necessarily easy or inexpensive, but when we take the time to listen and learn, we can build a better community. Thoughtful remodeling is a lot like building an effective, progressive coalition. It takes patience, intelligence, and love. Experience helps too. Thank you, Joe Biden, and thank you, Devil Radio. On behalf of Chad's Design Build, here's to the Summer of Love.
Make some room on your home screen for the greatest radio app ever. Check out the Devil Radio app in the Apple and Google Play stores today and stream the greatest radio station ever wherever you go. The Devil Radio app, streaming 24/7 right from your smartphone.
Hey, Darcy, I just saw the perfect house and I want you to help me write an offer on it.
I'd be happy to, Dom. Were you at the open house?
No, I just called the sign and had the agent show it to me. I don't want to bug you.
Oh, Dom, how many times have you heard me say don't call the sign?
But
you called the agent working for the seller, and once you see the property with that agent, I'm no longer free to write an offer on it.
So
you need to hire us from the beginning, help you find the right home, negotiate on your behalf, and protect your interests all the way through the process. And it shouldn't cost you a dime.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, and they're honest. Find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Greetings, everyone. This is Nate Tim inviting you to my new show, Lay of the Land, about life and politics in rural Wisconsin. Please join me at 7 p.m. Thursday, August 5th for ideas, guests, and conversation on Devil Radio.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. The Madison City Council is expected tonight to take a vote on a resolution in support of Indigenous sovereignty and call on local, state, and federal leaders to stop the rerouting of Enbridge Energy's pipeline in northern Wisconsin. The Deer District is expanding tonight for Game 6 of the NBA Finals and will now span a 5-acre area outside the Pfizer Forum and can accommodate up to 65,000 spectators. The Milwaukee Bucks lead the series against the Phoenix Suns 3-2. Game 6 tips off at 8 this evening. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies throughout the day with winds up to 10 miles an hour and the chance for a scattered shower or thunderstorm possible. High today of 87 degrees. Partly cloudy skies expected this evening with an overnight low of 60 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the soiree at the Atomic Koi. Devil's Advocates Hour 2. Dom, the fine folks have begun to show up for the party. Love that they are here. What do we call fans of the Devil's Advocates?
I don't know if we have a specific name for them.
Do we have a specific name? Do any of you call yourselves anything in particular? Do you self-identify as fans of the Devil's Advocates? Absolutely. So I'll put you down for an absolutely. So anyways, they don't specifically call themselves like Children of the Corn or Rosemary's Baby or
Devil
or
Heads.
Devil Heads.
Devil Heads.
Like Parrot Heads, something like that.
Minions.
Minions. If only we had more minions.
Everybody
Millions
needs
of minions.
Minions.
You can always be our minions. Join us here on the phones, 844-967-2789. Better yet, come on down to the party at the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Happy Gilmore on the screen. Lots of good people lining up at the bar, getting themselves something cold on a Tuesday afternoon to drink.
And it's a beautiful hot day in Wisconsin, like 85 and sunny. Come inside, have a drink, relax, talk some politics, meet some friends.
Dominic, I'm not sure if this qualifies as politics per se, but billionaires, pigs in space.
Billionaires in space.
Because I perceive them as the very selfish amongst us, the hoarder types. In any other creature or society, something that hoarded to the expense of all other creatures, that'd be destructive. But here we celebrate them with a cover of Forbes magazine.
Well, hell, man, of course Bezos is going to space. There's no taxes there.
Is that it?
Ah, nice, nice.
Now I understand you got some sound. He was gloriously self-celebratory, right? Bezos, after this 10-minute venture to space.
We do have some sound, a little background to the story here from the Bezos-owned Washington Post. Ironically enough, a little bit here, then we'll hear the billionaire astronaut ? What he had to say. Apparently, a very fun day, as it would be if I went to space as well. Bezos blasted into space Thursday on his rocket company's first flight with people on board, becoming the second billionaire in just over a week to ride his own spacecraft. Be great if they taxed those guys a little more. The Amazon founder was accompanied by a handpicked group, his brother, an 18-year-old from the Netherlands, and an 82-year-old aviation pioneer from Texas, the youngest and oldest to ever fly in space. Named after America's first astronaut, Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket soared on the 52nd anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing, if you believe that sort of thing, a date chosen by Bezos for its historical significance. He held fast to it. Blue Origin's reached an altitude of about 66 miles, more than 10 miles higher than Branson's July 11th ride, the 60-foot booster.
My rocket goes 10 miles higher than your rocket.
The booster accelerated to Mach 3 or 3 times the speed of sound to get the capsule high enough before separating and landing upright. I did see it live. It was pretty impressive. During their several minutes of weightlessness, video from inside the capsule showed the four floating, doing somersaults, tossing Skittle candies, and throwing balls. Cheering, whooping, and exclamations of wow could be heard. The capsule landed under parachutes with Bezos and his guests briefly experiencing nearly 6 times the force of gravity, or 6 Gs, on the way back. Apparently, his expectations were high and they were dramatically exceeded. Their flight lasted 10 minutes and 10 seconds, 5 minutes shy of Alan Shepard's Freedom Flight in 1961. Shepard's daughters, Laura and Julie, were introduced at a press conference a few hours later. We have some sound and a very
Rocket Man.
I mean, the rocket was exceptionally penis shaped in my mind. Kind of remind me of like
overly phallic, unnecessarily phallic.
Exactly. We have some sound from the richest man in the world. Very happy today. Let's hear a little bit of it. Then we'll have a conversation. We have our pal, John Nichols from The Nation magazine, going to join us at 3:30. This will be one of our topics of conversation. Brian, you did the hard work on here. Let's hear what Bezos said. Blue Origin's the greatest day ever. Cut 20.
How does it feel? This is a big day for Blue Origin.
Greatest day ever. Amazing. I mean, speechless in a way. I don't have the talent to put into words what we just experienced. Maybe we need to send a poet at some point or something.
Yes, obviously very jacked up Jeff Bezos. Let's hear some more. Cut 21.
We're surrounded by Earth's atmosphere. We're breathing it all the time, and it's sustaining all the life on this planet. When you get up there, you see that it's this tiny, thin little thing, and it makes you realize just how precious it is and how fragile it is and how much we need to take care of it.
And the fact that I own half of it.
Right. And I would say, I mean, anybody going into space, and my understanding, like 600 people of humanity have ever gone that high, and now making it a commercial endeavor. But certainly, philosophically, how can you not, look back on this big blue marble and think in those terms? And certainly, when you bring up the fact that of how thin, really, really thin our atmosphere is relative to the Earth and to space and in general, it makes you really worried about what are we doing? We're pumping and burning everything underneath our feet to have the existence that we have with the climate change concerns that we have. Maybe we get some more Republicans into space, they'd change some of those views.
Republicans not so down on the sciencey part. Dominic, I'm not sure that I give a rat's rump whether or not Jeff Bezos has gone to space. Why should I care? I mean, the very richest human being in existence has fulfilled his whim. Wow. Should I care about that? Why is this significant in the whole scheme of the world?
To be fair, they did achieve something that we've achieved in 1960. So good for them.
I mean, he's like number 601. I'm guy 601 to go to space. It's not exactly like he's freaking Neil Armstrong here.
Well, sure. Charles Lindbergh, right? Flew over the Atlantic, right? That was the big thing.
The transatlantic flight.
Right. Big deal, right? Rich guy, right? I mean, yes, when these kinds of things, but what we're talking about is the commercialization and presumably the replication of these kinds of things. And if you get, now the prices are going to be, $250,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But what if it's $25,000? What if it's $2,500? At some point, would you pay $2,500 to go to space? I might. I wouldn't pay $25,000. I'd pay $2,500.
Come on, man! I'm not going to space and coach. I'm not doing it. I'm not sitting in a cramped ass seat. Go to space and in space traveler coach. Because I can't afford first class on a.
There is no. I mean, maybe
there's going to be a first class.
Okay, you got Bezos' seat, man. Would you take that for $2,500? Because that's the whole point. When you commercialize this thing, you commercialize this, you make it available. Presumably, you get other players in, you get more technology advances.
To what end?
I mean, to what end? To the advancement of the human race. I mean, the same
so you
reason,
get to go
the same reason you build a boat, 1,000, 10,000 years ago to go out into the ocean and to explore, man.
And didn't Icarus try this once?
That's a fable, but sure, if God sent Icarus, I'm not clear on the storyline here.
I think he had the waxy feathers.
Yeah. I know it's a song by Iron Maiden.
Got too close to the sun and they melted. They melted.
See, don't fly too close to the sun. So, obviously, I have lots of mixed feelings about it. A citizen, being able to go up into space and a citizen being able to purchase a ride into space is a really cool thing. And if it were a whole lot cheaper, I would do it. I think more people need to do something like that.
Oh, I don't like heights. I wouldn't do it.
Well, see,
Let me contrast that.
But you get on a plane, right?
Sure, I do.
All right.
Kicking and screaming, but yeah, I go on and, try to grin and bear it for 3 to 6 hours.
And the
however
Wright
long it
brothers,
takes.
those guys, the Wright brothers, what's the big deal, right? What's the
I
big
understand
deal?
the value of travel, the idea that man can fly. That's great achievement. The fact that it's
but they couldn't fly that plane to space, right? I mean, it was another step. All those.
Come on, man! Unless you're taking me to Mars or somewhere cooler than just the edge of the atmosphere.
Oh, so if you went to the moon or Mars, you'd be down, but you don't want to just go up and down for 10 minutes?
It'd have to be a pretty secure flight. I need some guarantees, some travel insurance kind of stuff. No, I'm not sure. And here's what's more troubling to me. Let me contrast the headline. Amazon ending COVID-19 testing at their warehouses at the end of the month. So while the billionaire owner, although I guess he stepped back from his position, right?
That's right.
Spend more time with his family or
his
with
family in space. His brother went along. Brothers in space.
My point being this. Amazon is basically going to stop testing their warehouse workers as a cost savings measure, right? Amazon always looking to save a little money on the bottom line. So the boss can afford to go to frickin' space. The American dream is like a picket fence, 2.5 kids, maybe, to do better than your parents' generation. But when I borrowed money from mom and dad and started this international corporation in their garage and made myself the wealthiest man in the world, do you need to leave this planet so there's new frontiers to conquer, Dom? And if so, you got to pick a better spot than sort of close to the atmosphere. It's not getting her done. Not for $250,000. Not even for $2,500, man. You got to take me farther than that.
Oh,
I can go to Vegas for like 99 direct flight. I can be there in 3-4 hours. I'm going to have a hell of a lot better time than Jeff Bezos did.
Come on, man.
On the greatest day of his life.
You go spend 10 minutes in Vegas, it's not going to change your life. Oh, I checked that. It might.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates live on the road again. The Summer of Love edition. Live from the Atomic Koi, one of Hawk's Spider neighborhood bars.
I think it's going to be a long, long time. And I think it's going to be a long, long time.
Pigs in space!
We have reports of an unidentified flying object. It is a long, smooth shaft, complete with two balls.
Take your iron rod.
Oh, my Lord. Look at that thing.
So big.
I've seen bigger. That's...
According to the Federalist Waller account being read into the congressional record by Ron Johnson, if this is just a small number of instigators in 100,000 true Trump-loving people, why did the Trumpsters stop the instigators? Why wouldn't you say, hey, they're not like us, let's stop those guys, instead of joining them in breaking into the U.S. Capitol?
I really believe I'd run into, even if I didn't have a weapon.
Listen to Devil's Advocates weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
President Biden's American Jobs Plan would invest in clean energy jobs, move the country towards clean power, and create millions of good-paying jobs for families like yours. It's the most progressive plan to create American jobs in decades. Members of Congress need to hear that this plan would help you and your family. Join Move On's fight to help working families. Text ACT to 668-366 to join Move On. Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by MoveOn.org Civic Action.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Wisconsin Republicans have put forth a legislative proposal.
Oh, they're going to take the Medicaid money for like $2 billion?
No, not that one. That one's highly popular.
Oh, they're getting behind voting rights. That's awesome.
No, they've perhaps gotten differing advocacy on voting.
They finally come around on some gun safety legislation.
No, thoughts and prayers. That's our plan.
Well, then what have they been doing then?
Legalize marijuana. No.
Oh,
Listen to Devil's Advocates weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
You'll get nothing you like it.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open, taking your calls at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I got texted from one of our good friends and fine sponsors, Gordy Kopke, Kopke's Greenhouses. Gordy says, love the banter. I'm with Dom on the space flight. When it gets to 25 grand, I'm down.
Oh, 25 grand.
Gordy's ready to be a rocket man, but apparently he's not joining us here because the grandkids are coming over at 4. Gordy, man, you could have planned that better.
I could probably throw him pretty hard. What does he charge for that?
25.
Just kind of throw him up in the air and catch him.
Slingshot his ass.
No, he'd feel weightless for a couple of seconds and I could catch him.
I mean, really, that's what you're paying for, right? That 5 minutes at zero G, and check the box to say you did it. Well, be like Trump, just lie and claim you did.
I've been to space.
It was a little disappointing. I thought it'd be cooler.
Included in the many people that Bezos thanked Tuesday was, quote, every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all this.
So my wife sent him to space.
Bezos has said he finances the rocket company by selling $1 billion in Amazon stock each year.
Someone just texted me, geez, guys, do you realize the carbon footprint of joy rides to space?
Right.
Oh, you're saying that's a energy sucker?
Well, right. I mean, we need to obviously come up with other propulsion systems, more efficient, effective propulsion systems, perhaps, incorporating some of the technology that we've been seeing with these unidentified aerial phenomena, Pentagon reports. Maybe they could take advantage and, co-opt some of that tech and make it a little easy for all of us. Baby steps, Grudy, but you got to keep moving forward, man.
I'm less convinced that there's any redeeming quality to sending billionaires to space. I mean, it's their money. I guess we're not going to tax them, so let them spend it on something. But
we should tax them, and that's what we'll talk about with John Nichols from The Nation magazine at the bottom of the hour. We'll make them pay more taxes, right, Kelly? Exactly. I mean, they got to do something. And from their perspective, he's selling.
That's a popular thought here at the Atomic Coin.
A
billionaires paying their own taxes,
selling $1 billion worth of stock to finance this endeavor. If we look at what the payoffs were from the NASA, the United States' space program, was, you think about the technology, everything that came out of that, like, Tang and Velcro. There are technologies.
The really important things.
Exactly. Come on.
When's the last time you drank a glass of Tang?
It's been a while, but I like your Velcro
started
shoes.
a line of Tang.
There's ancillary technology that comes out of this, and would Bezos then own that? I mean, I know it, perhaps. But the fact that we keep doing these things, would you rather have it be funded by the government and tax dollars? Or would that be your preference right now? Like NASA right now, would you rather have NASA, doing these, getting involved in commercial space flight for entertainment for the masses?
No, I don't.
Okay, how about Great America, man? I mean, Six Flags. I mean, what are we talking about here? Because if you don't want the government, NASA to be involved in that kind of
what it is we are talking about here. I mean, are you suggesting the United States government should somehow be in the space flight business? I mean, I get it, why they've done exploration on behalf of the American people.
Why we continue to do exploration.
Why Kennedy challenged us to put a man on the moon. I get all that. But why is space tourism important? Are we looking for an improved bottom line for the U.S. dollar? I mean, what is the upside to the U.S. government? And no, I don't think the government should subsidize this project.
So if
not through their taxes, not through R&D perks for Blue Orbit or whatever the hell he calls this endeavor. But I got to tell you, Dom, I suspect that taxpayers have indeed funded this endeavor on some small part or large.
But you would prefer that it goes in that a private, quote unquote, private individual like Bezos or the Virgin guy, Branson, to have them spend their own money to do it versus us using our
but
tax
they're
dollars.
also being subsidized by the federal tax
Now, why do
dollars.
you mean specifically for the space efforts or because they're not
the
taxed?
space efforts?
And is there value? Do you think there's value for
I don't
the
see
U.S.
it.
government? So
I'm
we
not
got it
seeing
all
the
figured
value.
out. We got it all figured out. All the propulsion systems and all the controls and everything that we do now, that's the tip. We are there. We're ready to roll. We're going to Mars. We're going to other systems. Is that where we're at? That's not where we're at. We're not even close to that. We need continued efforts.
No, because
in
we're
these
wasting
regards.
time sending billionaires to the edge of outer space.
We didn't do it. They did that. That was
indeed.
his
There was
endeavor.
like a $200 billion federal investment, a taxpayer investment in this
sure.
endeavor.
Okay.
Well, the federal government didn't give me $200 million to go play radio man on the radio. They don't subsidize your endeavors, do they?
The federal government subsidizes all sorts of things, Crudy. And the point is, you don't think there's a value for the money that they got. I would argue perhaps there is.
Well, you'd be wrong.
844-967-2789. We have John Nichols joining us from the nation at the bottom of the hour. Let's squeeze in Mark. Hey, Mark, welcome. Would you go to space for $2,500, Mark?
Understand, they're not paying you. You got to pay Mark.
No, I would not. I'll keep my location closer to the ground. I wanted to get back to good old self-certified Rand Paul.
Oh, sure.
Considering what I've gone through for the next, with the cataract surgery, there's no way in hell I'd let that SOB anywhere close to my eyes. I wouldn't trust some self-certified guy cutting away at my eye and dissolving my old lens to insert a new one, because he'd probably deflate my eye and I'd be blind. I mean, the guy should be jailed for fraud, for misrepresenting himself as a ophthalmologist, because that requires a lot of training.
Well, he's self-certified, Mark. I'm going to call myself a self-certified astronaut. Thanks for the call, man.
Apparently, Jeff Bezos invested at least $5.5 billion of his own money, and that's about $1.380 billion per minute in space. Glad the taxpayers can subsidize part of that as well. Come back with us live at the Atomic Koi. Better yet, join us here at the party in Fitchburg, one of Hawk's Fighter neighborhood bars.
I'm rich, biatch!
What's that?
I don't know, son, but it's got great, big
Nuts! Hot, salty nuts!
Stay informed with progressive news and talk on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, McFarland's choice for essential radio.
Yeah, it's piracy. So many product prices are jacked up so high because of shortages. Piracy, I tell you, matey.
So keep your sights on Crazy Lenny's e-bikes. They have the low price reputation.
Low price. We saw this coming 10 months ago. We started buying more bikes, 100 bike containers, so we could keep our low price image.
Shiver me timbers. Give us an example.
E-bikes with 40-mile range, with disc brakes, with torque controller. Retail $1,900. Nope, not at my store. Just $844.
$1,900 bike for $844. That is crazy.
And we have 150 electric bikes on display on our show.
$844 for quality e-bikes at Crazy Lenny's e-bike.
My store. My ship. Raise the plank and hoist the sails. Set our course for Crazy Lenny's bosun. Crazy Lenny's e-bikes are down the road.
Update. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. During a cabinet meeting today at the White House, President Biden stressed that this latest surge in the coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are among one segment of the population.
Virtually all of the COVID deaths and hospitalizations are from unvaccinated people. Let me say it again, virtually all are from unvaccinated people.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, no political ally of the president's, calls on those who haven't been vaccinated to do so.
These shots need to get in everybody's arm as rapidly as possible, or we're going to be back in a situation in the fall that we don't yearn for, that we went through last year.
Tokyo is readying for the start of the Olympics on Friday. Already, the Games are like no other, the first in an even year since the resumption in the early 1900s, and the first without spectators. I'm Tim McGuire.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. And 724.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. In an effort to better address health disparities in Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health and the Medical College of Wisconsin are together launching a $3 million grant to study, measure, and recommend solutions for health inequities within the state. In a visit to Wisconsin at the end of last week, U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai stated that rebuilding international relationships will be key to improving trade agreements, especially within the dairy industry. On Friday, the Urban League of Greater Madison announced it has received 2 grants from the state of Wisconsin to support underrepresented entrepreneurs and job seekers, totaling $585,000. The grants supplied by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation and the Department of Workforce Development will provide access to types of opportunities that usually escape the Black community, according to Ruben Anthony, the league's president and CEO. You're listening to Devil Radio.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, we're broadcasting live. The Summer of Love tour, it continues from the Opoien, one of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars. Got lots of nice folks showing up here, joining the political party. And we're going to be joined right now, live via phone, by John Nichols of The Nation. I got to tell you, John, there's a little bit of disappointment. There's a bar, or a beer on the bar with your name on it. And
man.
Dave says, and it seems like a self-serving challenge, but let me explain it. Dave says, if you don't show up to drink this beer, he's going to be forced to drink it himself, John.
Hey, John.
How you doing, man? Welcome back.
I knew that was going to be the case, but I am sorry not to be there because if I'd known it was the Summer of Love tour, I would have canceled everything.
Oh, it continues, John.
It continues. Maybe next time, my friend.
But love to everybody there and to that glass of beer right on that counter.
So, John Nichols, let me ask you. I see you posted a piece at The Nation magazine. Jeff Bezos, you don't mind if we send his ass to space as long as he pays some taxes here on Earth. So are you in Cape Canaveral or wherever they're launching this rich man's dream from, John? Where are you observing the Bezos near space flight from?
It's done, right? So I was up this morning just looking to see if I could see him go by. But no, I didn't get all the way to Cape Canaveral. I will tell you though, I had a moral debate. I mean, I had to think about it. I treated it very seriously. I wasn't sure whether we should necessarily be in favor of him coming back. But
you weren't rooting against him so much as not cheering for him, John.
Well, I had to think about it, but then I thought to myself, no, that's not right. Of course, he's one of us. He's an Earthling, and so he can come back. But I was just thinking that how sometimes when you're traveling, and you're thinking of what road to go on, you look at the atlas or your Google, and you don't really think it through too much, and you end up on a toll road, and so you got to pay, right? So I was thinking that perhaps like right after he took off, we should, send a message up to the rocket with a notification about the landing fees to return to Earth. And I thought, this was my calculation. You guys are better at math than I, but I was toying with the idea of saying that we have like a $200 billion landing fee. And that would, go into the general treasury just to cover expenses and stuff. And that would still, he'd have to pay $200 billion, upon return, but he would still be one of the richest men in the world. So I don't think it would be too tough on him. And we'd be up $200 billion to fight cancer and solve problems.
John, my understanding, Bezos invested, air quotes, $5.5 billion of his own money for this 4-minute flight. So that comes out to like $1.38 billion per minute he expended. And, I'd feel bad for the man, but he's probably making more than that per minute at Amazon right now, or at least he did through the pandemic.
Making more than that. He did during the pandemic, astronomically, extraterrestrially more than that. During the pandemic, he made tens of billions. He made so much money, he didn't even know how to spend it, which is obvious. But I did calculate it out because I tried to figure out, how much does he make a minute, right? And so he's up there for 11 minutes. And so he made about $1.7 million just on that trip, right? He made $1.7 million. That is the same as the average American makes in a lifetime.
Wow.
So,
and if you work in radio, not nearly that much.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're working radio, that's how much you lose in a lifetime. But the bottom line is that his little joyride ends up costing, whatever it costs, the money he puts into it. But he makes so much money, and he makes that, like every 11 minutes, he makes what an American makes, the average American makes in a lifetime. So when he's sleeping tonight, he's going to make that every 11 minutes. When he's, having breakfast tomorrow, he's every 11 minutes. So the fact of the matter is, the guy's got too much money. You know what I mean? I know it's hard to imagine where the line is on too much money, but I think we have identified it. And so I believe that is the point at which you have to start paying taxes, because we will actually save him from, having to face the question of whether he wants to go on another rocket trip or all, that sort of stuff. We'll say, no, you got to do this cool thing. Now you have to pay taxes like everybody else. And you may not be able to go to space as often as you like, but you know what? Nobody else can either, except Elon Musk, who we should also tax.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. John Nichols from The Nation magazine, talking Bezos and space. All right, Jeff, I see these as, I'm sorry, John, I see these as separate
you can call
issues.
Me Jeff. You just have to give me $1 billion.
Yeah, right, man. Hey, send me a check. I'll call you Jeff. I see this as separate issues, and certainly I understand. We the American people, our politicians, we have created this tax code, right? And guys like Bezos and all these other billionaires are taken full advantage of that, right? So we're not alleging any sort of fraud or anything along those lines. But yes, we certainly need to nail down to make sure there's at least some minimum tax, perhaps the wealth tax, to that guys like Bezos and the rest of these billionaires are contributing to our country's causes, right? I mean, this country made them vastly wealthy, and they should at least be paying their fair share. Now, that is also a subjective number. I totally get it. But what I do know, it's higher than zero, John. It's higher than zero.
A little.
But what about the a little higher than zero? But from the business aspect, from the commercial aspect of this. He's still, he's selling $1 billion in Amazon stock a year to finance this endeavor. And if we're talking from a business plan, we're gonna bring people up into space for 10 minutes, and it's gonna be a 10-minute ride, and that's what we're doing. We're gonna charge $250,000 per seat. That's what we're starting at. So he's putting, he's losing money on this to start with. And granted, I know there's been some pushback from Crudy about whatever subsidization the NASA or the government may be giving to him.
NASA actually went up there and created the map, right? You know what I mean? It's like we did pay to establish the idea that you can go to space, right? We did a lot. The Russians did their part. So there you go. Okay, back to your question.
But so to that point, though, it's certainly not the government's role to provide joyrides into space. And if someone wants to invest their money to do so, don't you think there's some benefit to that? Obviously, the government thought there was. It wouldn't have helped subsidize this.
Why is it the government's role to provide joyrides?
Exactly. Please continue.
What's wrong with the government?
Why is it not the government's role to provide joyrides into space?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, if you can if people are dumb enough to want to pay $250 million to spend 11 minutes in a hatch with, some other people that are dumb enough to pay that, or if you like space, smart enough, whatever, why does that have to go to some private sector hustler? Why couldn't the government do that? We sort of, it's like, why is the government always ending up as the chump, right? We create the internet, and then Jeff Bezos makes hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Internet developed by our military, this research thing. We build the highways, right? And the trucking industry, and everybody makes billions, blah, blah, blah. We do everything, right? And we do it right. We do it well. And then we've got all these people that come along and make their fortunes. I am not against, the corner store or, the entrepreneurial, scrappy little radio personality that puts a show on in Madison and Milwaukee. But I do think, when you're talking about things like going into outer space, right? Literally, the heaven, so to speak. I'm not sure that it should really be a tourism game anyway. But if it is going to be, I'm not sure that you shouldn't have the people that kind of know about that stuff. If that would be a way to fund the space program, for instance, why would that be wrong?
John, when it's going to become America's responsibility? The first time one of these billionaires crashed their rocket, right? And there's some liability. Then it's going to be a socialist exercise.
What if Jeff Bezos got stuck up there, right? I don't know if he can get stuck in space. But let's say somehow he had trouble getting, what would we have to do? We'd have the whole country going, oh, we've got to, marshal the NASA program to send up a rescue crew. It'd be like some guy in his boat getting stuck out on a lake, right? And so we would save him because he's Bezos and because he's a human being, and that's our duty. But
we can charge him for the effort because his checks will cash, because we know he's got a lot of money because he's not paying any taxes.
Yeah, it's like when the ambulance, right? And you can charge for the ambulance, which I don't think you should do. But in this case, again, I'm going to recommend my $200 billion fee. Or 200 billion. I just want to make sure.
$200 billion landing fee.
Yeah, right. Because he's not a trillionaire yet. Did you know this, by the way? I mean, just for your instruction, that there's now actually folks who are charting out when Bezos will become a trillionaire.
Wow.
And it's not very long. It's like, you can.
All he needs is one more tax cut.
Yeah, that's right. We'll start giving him the money.
John, let me ask you, the current president, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's got a big problem on his hands in this regard. I know it's a little bit of a turn away from Bezos in the space race, but we've got a Delta variant that's creeping up on America in a big sort of way. And, Joe Biden's problem is that the vaccination, it was working right up until it came time for the Republicans to take their vaccine.
Take a little John, bit of responsibility.
I got to ask you, in the whole social Darwinism, if Republicans are unwilling or just, damn it, they freedom, they're going to die if they want to die. John, at what level of responsibility do we feel as citizens or media members to try to encourage those guys? I mean, didn't Darwin tell us it's all going to work itself out eventually?
No, I don't know if I trust Darwin. You know, in fairness, I was a little up here on this issue until Sean Hannity came on it last night. And, you know, Sean Hannity said on Fox last night that we have to take this COVID thing seriously. And so
sort of a stunning statement of fact, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but he did it. So I've got to follow his lead here and say that we have a duty, as painful as it may be, to provide education to everybody and to do our very best to make sure that people who disagree with us, as well as people we love, get that vaccination. Because at the end of the day, if we start to practice social Darwinism, if our side, the good side, people of light, start to practice social Darwinism, how long do you think it's going to be before the other side practices it on us?
Yeah, but, you know, just protecting ourselves with a cure to a disease, John. You know, if they're going to say,
but
they're not going to talk me into taking poison against my own better judgment, John.
I am going to encourage them to take the vaccine, man, because the fact of the matter is one of them's going to cough on you at some point, you know, and who knows, the variants are getting ugly and stuff like that. So for a million reasons, as frustrating as it may be, and I'm with Sean Hannity on this one. You know, I'm following the conservative line. Everybody go get your shot.
John Nichols from The Nation. John, you got a few more minutes for us because we got some more questions for you, sir.
I am here to serve.
Excellent.
Well, they'll serve you if you show up here, which is at the Atomic Koi. John Nichols joins us via phone. We got lots of nice people here. The party is beginning. Crudy starts drinking about 4 o'clock, man. Then it's going to get all messy up in here. But in the meantime, come back. More John Nichols, more Devil's Advocates. Hawks, Atomic Koi.
Take a look out of starboard.
Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Pecker! That looks just like my husband's one-eyed monster.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
President Biden's American Jobs Plan would invest in clean energy jobs, move the country towards clean power, and create millions of good-paying jobs for families like yours. It's the most progressive plan to create American jobs in decades. Members of Congress need to hear that this plan would help you and your family. Join Move On's fight to help working families. Text ACT to 668-366 to join Move On. Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by MoveOn.org Civic Action.
Hi, this is Dom from the Devil's Advocates inviting you to join us on Patreon.com. Patreon allows for our audience to access exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever. Senator Ron Johnson talking about staying out of bars. How does that pair with your thought that schools should reopen in the fall? You got a room full of school students or a room full of bar patrons. What's the difference?
Because schools, students, it's rare, very rare to have them have a very serious medical effect from COVID.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m.
You shouldn't have older school teachers or school teachers with some of the comorbidities.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. If you missed any of this fine program, please go online to devilradio927.com. You can listen to and download podcasts and interviews.
Dominic, we got the finest of guests live via phone. He is John Nichols from The Nation, friend of ours. John, there are cold beverages here. Ours have just been served here at the table. But John, we appreciate you joining us live via phone. And we've got to ask you about the newest entrant into the U.S. senatorial race. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes got the email, got the solicitation. Apparently, he's made it official. John, what's your thoughts on L.T. Barnes running for U.S. Senate against Rojo?
We got John?
Hey, what happened to our pal John?
All right, John's on hold. We'll wait and see if we can get John back.
Don, what was your impression of Mandela Barnes jumping into the big senatorial?
Shocked, I tell you. Of course, not shocked at all. I'm just kidding. We knew this was, he was going to have an event today. We've been talking about it for some time. I like Mandela Barnes personally. I'm excited that he is in the race. I look forward to seeing some really good Democratic candidates, battle it out for the opportunity to take on Ron Johnson, man. I mean, this is a very important election, and I think he rounds out the field very well.
Well, I don't think he jumped in to round out the field. I think he jumped in to win it. John Nichols, always a winner. Thanks for sticking around, John. Wanted to ask you about Mandela Barnes getting into the U.S. senatorial race. What do you think about Mandela's chances? Is he the automatic front runner by virtue of the fact he is the lieutenant governor?
I think there's a pretty good chance of that. I think he's got probably the highest name recognition at this point, although after tonight, Alex Lasry could have the highest name recognition.
Right.
How the Bucks
at 6.
It's not going to hurt, Lasry tonight if the Bucks do well. But with that said, Mandela Barnes, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see his video?
I have not yet.
He released? It's really good. I mean, and the reason I bring that up, even as facile as it may seem to talk about videos of candidates, is that that's become one of the new measures of, are you up for this thing? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know how to do it? And by far, I would argue that the video launching Mandela Barnes' campaign was the most professional of all the candidates, the most kind of savvy, and it had him running through the city of Milwaukee. Of course, that's where he's from, but also lots of scenes with farmers and sitting on warehouse docks and factories and having lunch with workers and stuff like that. And I have to tell you, you know what it looked like? It looked like a Tammy Baldwin ad. It looked like, because that's what Baldwin's been so smart about, of linking, not just the Democratic bases in Milwaukee and Madison, but also bringing in rural Wisconsin, small towns, farm country, and, our manufacturing sector. So I just think that Barnes, he has started with a good show of strength. And it's going to be a long, hard race. There's no question of that. I don't think he is necessarily, you should presume he's going to be the winner, but I do think that there's a pretty good chance that, as you suggest, he starts as the front runner.
Now, how much advantage, personally, do you think to candidate Alex Lasry? And for those listening outside of the Wisconsin area, Alex Lasry is the son of one of the primary Milwaukee Bucks owners, apparently a very well-heeled man, and he's taken his leap from his position as an executive with the Bucks organization, and they are, on the precipice of history. Let's hope it's Bucks in 6, John. But does Alex Lasry, as a candidate, does he garner all the credit for the Bucks victory? Hell, I saw Scott Walker trying to claim he's been a 40-year Bucks fan today.
Yeah. I'd like to see them play basketball with Scott Walker. He can be the ball. But the bottom line here is that, yes, is it going to help Lasry if the Bucks win? Yeah, I think it will. And, I just ask you a question. If you remember a little Wisconsin history, What happened to the last Bucks owner?
Well, Herb Cole, the last Bucks owner,
Yeah,
Senator
we elected
Cole,
him to the U.S. Senate. Yeah.
but he also
elected
invested
him to
a
the US
hell of a
Senate.
lot of money, John, and he did so very early in the race. He owned the airwaves, and maybe that's the Lasry plan. Lasry's been leading the fundraising about $1 million per quarter, but unless he's tapping Dad's money, I don't know how he's going to buy up the airwaves from here to next November's election in the same way that Herb Cole did.
Yeah, and look, here's also the reality. Sarah Godlewski, the state treasurer, is going to have a substantial campaign treasury. She will be able to spend a lot. There is no
And she
question in
has
my
the
mind that
backing of Emily's List already, doesn't she, John?
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. And Mandela Barnes has a lot of support in state, and frankly, a lot of people around the country that are very enthusiastic about him as a rising young leader. And so I think he's going to actually have quite a bit of money. And, I'll note that Tom Nelson, from up in Allegheny County, turned in some reasonably good fundraising figures off just the last quarter. So I think you're going to see a lot of TV. I don't think anybody's going to dominate in the way that Herb Cole did. The winner of this race, because it's an August primary with looks like it's going to have 8 candidates or more. The winner of this race is going to be the person who goes out and hustles hardest across Wisconsin, goes to a lot of county party dinners and, fairs and events throughout the rest of the year and into next year. And it's a long haul. It's a hard effort. And so it's that work ethic. Certainly the money helps. I don't deny that. But then finally, it's going to be a set of issues. And the interesting thing is that the winner of the primary is going to be the person who presents a set of issues that seem attractive enough, approaches that seem appealing enough that people can say, yeah, I want that person in the Senate. And as Democrats, they'll say, and I believe this guy's or this woman's approach will be sufficient to defeat Ron Johnson. So
John Nichols,
there's a lot more to this than just money.
The national affairs correspondent with The Nation magazine. John, we got about 1 minute left. How do you think this impacts the governor's race? Governor Evers no longer having Mandela Barnes as a sidecar.
I think that Governor Evers, who had a pretty gracious statement about Barnes getting in the Senate race, will have a lieutenant governor who is very, very strong. And I'm already hearing a lot of names like Marcella Nicholson out of Milwaukee and others. I've even heard rumors that somebody might drop out of the Senate race and move over to the lieutenant governor's race. So at the end of the day, Evers is fine if he picks a good lieutenant governor candidate. And then also remember, there is the possibility that the voters will decide to put Mandela Barnes on the ballot next to Evers as the Senate candidate. So I don't think the departure from the ticket by Barnes is necessarily all that harmful to Evers.
John Nichols from The Nation magazine. He's a friend of ours. Thank you so much, John, for coming around on this on-the-road party from the Atomicoy today. Come back with us live from the Atomicoy in Fitchburg. The 4 o'clock happy hour commences right now.
Thanks, John.
I will be back soon with Jeff Angel.
He got away in that rocket that looks like a huge...
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
You feeling stressed or anxious, trying to figure out this new world? Maybe just feeling sore after all that summer yard work? You should come try Knuckleheads. With a new location at 520 State Street, Knuckleheads has the best CBD and wellness products Madison has to offer. Come talk to a friendly neighborhood knucklehead today and see if CBD works for you. You can call the shop at 608-284-0151 or check out the website, knuckleheadcbd.com, with any questions. And I'm Lando Commando, and I'll see you there at our new location, 520 State Street. Yeah!
Get ready to get local. Saturdays at 11 a.m., Dane by Local and 92.7 FM Devil Radio bring you Let's Get Local, a new program featuring area businesses and nonprofits that make our community unique and special. So tune in Saturdays and go local, Madison.
You are listening to WTTN Columbus, W224EG Madison, always streaming at devilradio927.com.
AP News, I'm Tim McGuire. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says about half the people eligible are fully vaccinated, but 2/3 of the nation's counties report less than 40% vaccinated. She says the areas hit the hardest by the Delta variant surge are those with low vaccination rates.
Areas with limited vaccine coverage are allowing for the emergence and rapid spread of the highly transmissible Delta variant. CDC has released estimates of variants across the country and predicted the Delta variant now represents 83% of sequenced cases.
Later this week, the Senate will have a procedural vote on the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan. President Biden tells his cabinet the infrastructure bill and the larger Build Back Better proposal will prove an economic boom for the country.
I think we're on a cusp of not only getting us out of the hole, but setting us on a path that's going to generate significant continued economic growth.
The head of former President Donald Trump's 2017 inaugural committee has been arrested on federal charges alleging he was an unregistered foreign agent.
Days before the 2017 inaugural, Tom Barrack says his longtime friend gave specific orders.
The campaign is over. I'm now president for all of the people. I want you to build a bridge and tie them back in. I want to heal the wounds.
Barrack is the latest in a long line of Trump associates facing criminal charges. Federal prosecutors say the wealthy investor conspired to influence Trump's foreign policy positions to benefit the United Arab Emirates, while giving officials there sensitive information about Trump administration developments. 2 other men have been charged with Barrack. Sagar Magani, Washington.
The Dow closed up nearly 550 points today. The Nasdaq added 179, and the S&P gained 64. This is AP News.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. And 724.
At Chad's Design Build, our tagline is building a better world, one remodeled home at a time. Simply stated, we want to be a part of the solution to leave the world better than we found it. That's why we've invested in a 20 kilowatt solar array, which provides over 90% of our electrical demand at our shop, office, and design studio. And that's why we invest in local causes which provide opportunities and which confront structural inequality. At Chad's Design Build, we are proud to partner with you, building a better world, one remodeled home at a time.
Do you want Wisconsin to suck? I don't. That's why you're listening to me now. I'm Hawk, owner of the Jade Monkey. Come to the Monkey and tell them you're there because the devil sent you. Then I can spend more money on ads and help Devil Radio keep Wisconsin from spiraling into post-apocalyptic Republican suckage. I mean, that's Iowa's job. Buy a round of the Jade Monkey and save Wisconsin one drink at a time.
Suck down drinks so we don't have to suck.
Okay.
Hi there, I'm Kirk Bankstad, and I own the Monaco Brewing Company, and I also have a super PAC. We make good trouble in the North Woods of Wisconsin. You can support our efforts at themonacobrewingcompany.com and buy our woke gear like t-shirts, hoodies, and trucker hats. Enter the code RADIO and get 10% off on your next purchase. A portion of all sales support the Monaco Brewing Company Super PAC, which is dark money meant for good. That's themonacobrewingcompany.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan from Downdren's Distilling. We're a small batch craft distillery in the heart of Cottage Grove. Downdren's Distilling offers live music in our giant cocktail garden, along with a kids' playground and tasting room. We produce a variety of spirits from cherry rum to a spicy pepper vodka. I invite you to have your next cocktail at Downdren's Distilling. 300 Progress Drive, Cottage Grove. Please like us on Facebook and visit downdrensdistilling.com for updates and specials. Can't wait to see you at Downdren's Distilling.
Must be 21 or older to purchase alcohol.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. On Monday, Attorney General Josh Kaul announced his support for sending more than $45 million from the $65 million settlement with Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family and the state of Wisconsin to local governments around the state. AG Kaul said the money cannot undo the harm of the opioid epidemic, but the money can make a difference in communities through treatment, recovery, and prevention. According to the state of Wisconsin, more than 1,100 people died from opioid abuse in 2020. The full details of the settlement are expected to be released later this week. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies throughout the day with winds up to 10 miles an hour and the chance for a scattered shower or thunderstorm possible. High today of 87 degrees. Partly cloudy skies expected this evening with an overnight low of 60 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic live on the road from the Opoien here in Fitchburg. The crowd enjoys a party.
Man, it's happy hour. That's how we do it
Nobody
here.
parties like a Devil's Advocates crowd. So join us here at the Opoien. This party going on right up to Game 6.
Bucks and six.
Bucks and six. The happier 4 o'clock happy hour. Dom, the long-rumored candidacy of Mandela Barnes. Apparently he's in it to win it. No big shocker to us. We know he's been thinking about it for some time. I had talked to his campaign staff. They certainly seemed like capable and competent people getting ready to do something big. And we'd heard rumors in the air. There was going to be a big announcement happening today. And then the solicitations rolled out and the
then you know it was official.
Campaign launch happened, Dom. And one thing I got to admit, I was a little surprised about. I already got a solicitation from MoveOn.org. And we're very familiar with that organization. We do business with them. They're some of our fine sponsors. But MoveOn is already asking their national membership if now is the time to endorse Mandela Barnes. They're already throwing, or at least preparing to throw, their full weight behind Mandela Barnes in the Wisconsin senatorial race. And Dominic, a lot of candidates. I mean, I was just as surprised when, let's say, the Teamsters jumped on for Alex Lasry.
Right.
I thought, man, it's really, really early. A lot of stuff can happen between now and even primary election day next August. Don't you want to see how these candidates settle into their roles?
The primary is over a year away still. Now, granted, things go fast when you're having fun, but you're right. And some of these organizations jumped on months ago as to who they were going to support.
Months ago. Yeah, early, very early in the race. And lots of people in the race, 8 official candidates, a few more considering it. Mandela, the perhaps biggest name in the contest. He's a handsome guy. He's a smart guy. He's a guy that we've known for a number of years. And we knew he's ambitious. And, I knew that this guy, he's got it. I like to call the quality of charisma and, sort of that political gumption. I like to say he's got a lot of it. No doubt he's got a lot of it. I've also noted Sarah Godlewski in this race, to my opinion, has a hell of a lot of it. And Lasry obviously has got a hell of a lot of it. If by it I mean money, there's a lot of money, and a lot of money going to flow into this race, I suspect. And that might be Alex Lasry's strength. He's got the financial resources. If he wants to, he could possibly bury these other candidates, at least financially, at least early on. He could go out and grab all the name recognition.
Like the past former Bucks owner, Herb Cole.
Cole.
Just buy it all up.
Nobody's senator but yours.
Yeah, but I mean, that was Herb's money, right? Alex, this is his dad's money. And while it certainly helps, it's still a different animal.
You know, it seems very strange to me that the political process, and while I'm not a huge fan of the self-funders, we know Mary Burke. I mean, hell, Ron Johnson, the one they're all competing against, Ron Johnson's something of a self-funder.
Sure.
In no small part, he financed his own electoral campaign, his own senatorial campaign, all the way back in 2010, Dom. But it seems a little ungracious to me, let's just say, that all these candidates are really running their campaigns with other people's money.
Opoien, what do you mean? You got a problem with that? Isn't that how it's supposed to be?
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's the way.
Either you're a self-funder or you're an OPMer, right? I mean, or maybe a little bit of both. But very few can fully self-fund. It's one thing to give your campaign, a $10,000 loan or a $100,000 loan. If you got that kind of, if you want to put a mortgage on the house, those kinds of things you can do. But you're talking about a $100 million senatorial race. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket to what you're going to need to compete in the state of Wisconsin for this race. So I'm not clear. Are you for or against the other people's money?
It's going to take a hell of a lot of other people's money. And I find the money and the political process perverting of the process.
Wow.
It's perverse, man. When you got $100 million senatorial campaign, that is perverse. $100 million to win $184,000 a year job. I mean, there's a reason that many U.S. senators become millionaires and billionaires, although I think mostly millionaires. Yeah, I don't know if Jeff Bezos is any ambitious to the U.S. Senate yet, but there's certainly
why would he take the pay
there.
cut? I mean, that's why you pay. That's why you have the money to distribute at his campaign and other support to 501c3s or 4s, so you don't have to do all that work. Well, who wants to show up at the Capitol and sit through those meetings?
Now, Dominic, you talked about the gubernatorial race, and Tony Evers. If anyone's smarting a little bit today, it's got to be Tony Evers, because Mandela Barnes, a big part of his prior electoral campaign. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was a financial disclosure made by Rebecca Clayfish's little outfit.
I did not know.
She raised about $250,000 through the Rebecca PAC.
She reported her PAC money income. They do.
They
okay.
did. Yes, that I was unaware of, but I saw it at the wispolitics.com online yesterday.
From the Madison.com, Mitchell Schmidt and Riley Vetterkind. Crudy, you mentioned Tony Evers. They report, of course, Evers, seeking a second term in 2022, issued this statement in support of the Democratic U.S. Senate field, the entire field. Quote, "At the end of the day, Wisconsin deserves better than someone like Ron Johnson, who's chosen to embrace reckless conspiracies that have risked public health and jeopardized our state's economic recovery." Evers said in a statement, "We're lucky to have strong Democratic candidates who are running to send him packing, and I look forward to supporting Wisconsin Democrats' choice to take on Ron Johnson in 2022.
John Nichols, our pal from the Nation, we appreciate you coming around today, John. But John mentioned now Evers gets to pick his lieutenant governor.
Or not.
And my question is, does he? Does Evers get to pick, or do the voters of the great state of Wisconsin get to pick? And while Evers is certainly going to have his favored candidate, ultimately he's probably already recruited someone. I suspect somebody's lieutenant gubernatorial campaign is going to begin, let's call it tomorrow. right?
Today.
Don't you think whoever their preferred lieutenant gubernatorial candidate is will let the the fanfare die down a little bit from Mandela's announcement, and then they'll go out there no later than, let's say, next Monday, and they'll make an announcement of their own. Marcella Nicholson might be the person. I don't have any particular insights, but I've heard her name bantered, and I've also heard LaTanya Johnson, and I'm sure that it would be very, very nice for Evers to have a co-pilot of some sort of diversity, age diversity, gender diversity, ethnic diversity.
Well, I guess that rules you out then, Crudy. No lieutenant governor run in your future, man?
I'm not ruling anything out at this point. All options are on the table.
Yeah.
You know, can you be a spite candidate?
I think you can.
Me or just anyone? You still got to qualify for the ballot. And it's still the same process to qualify for the ballot for each and every person that seeks to, have higher elective office. And I'd be curious, if I was in the race for, let's call it U.S. Senate, and there's now 8, 9, going to be 10 soon, and you got a clear front-running field, and you got some other politically ambitious people. They thought they were the right person, but, with a lot more competition, maybe they're not feeling so good about their choice. Could you see someone bailing and jumping into the lieutenant gubernatorial field? And if so, who should and could that be?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, certainly. People get in and get out. I don't think that there's any, long-term commitment. If you feel that you're not getting the endorsements, you're not making, meeting your goals in your fundraising, certainly people could look at this and say, well, now that Mandela's in, I wasn't going to run for something like that before, but now that he's in, maybe I will. That's certainly a possibility. And who would that be? Hell. I have no idea who would be, obviously the lower tiered, perhaps, as it stands right now. It's, it's not going to be Godlewski. It's not going to be, obviously, Mandela just said this. Nelson could be. But I think I'd like to see Nelson continue to stay on for the Senate race, man.
You've mentioned your affinity for Nelson's candidacy so far. What makes you like Nelson in particular as a candidate?
He's got the legislative background, man. He's up from, the Outagamie County, which is, Ron Johnson from the Oshkosh area. I grew up in that area.
So he's got a geographic advantage in that he's not from Madison or Milwaukee.
Right. He's an out city kind of guy. And I think he's very smart and he's pretty savvy. I just like him. His voting record, what he did in office, what he does is Outagamie County executive. I'm not clear on those things, but from what I've been talking to him and what I do know of him, he seems like a very qualified person for this position. Really, they're all there. Every one of them should be there as far as I'm concerned.
Chris Larson, I've teased, always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
I like Chris too. Yeah, man.
Well, could Chris Larson, who's now got a lot of Democratic opponents from Milwaukee specifically also seeking to be the senatorial candidate, could Chris Larson, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, Chris, but could Chris theoretically be a candidate that could succeed in the lieutenant gubernatorial field where he would not succeed with this very broad senatorial field?
Entirely possible, but if you're going to say...
a lot of backyard competition from Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt. And running a distant third, perhaps, behind those guys in fundraising and name recognition and so forth. Certainly he could take that move, but what he doesn't do, of course, is check a lot of those boxes you mentioned. Not female, not African American or Latino or whatever the case may be. So another white guy running for lieutenant governor, certainly qualified to do it, and maybe he would. But again, I'd like to see some of these folks. I want to, because he's a pretty progressive guy, Chris Larson. I'd like to see him go up with Alex Lazary. I want to hear some of the banter. I want to hear some of the pushback. What are we talking about? Medicare for all. Alex, where are you at with that? $15 an hour, 50 minimum wage. How did the Bucks handle that situation?
I can tell you where we're at. We're at the Atomic Koi. We're about done with this segment. We'll come back with the fine proprietor, Hawk Sullivan. More Devil's Advocates live on the road again.
Don't ask me to get inside the mind of a liberal, progressive, socialist, Marxist.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Hey, how's it going? Come down to 550 State Street. At Knuckleheads, we're your one-stop shop for all your CBD, glass, hookah, cigar needs. We got deals like buy 4, get 1 free on papers, cones, CBD carts. Too many things to list. Call 608-284-0151. Ask a friendly neighborhood knucklehead any questions. Or check out the website, knuckleheadcbd.com. Knuckleheads at 550 State Street. We got you covered. I'm Lando Commando, and I'll see you there.
President Biden's American Jobs Plan would invest in clean energy jobs, move the country towards clean power, and create millions of good-paying jobs for families like yours. It's the most progressive plan to create American jobs in decades. Members of Congress need to hear that this plan would help you and your family. Join Move On's fight to help working families. Text ACT to 668-366 to join Move On. Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by MoveOn.org Civic Action.
This is Rocker. I'm sitting on the patio at Salvatore's Tomato Pies on East Wash, and I'm enjoying a floral-forward Manhattan called As Long as There's Whiskey. It features Rocker Rye whiskey with a hint of blueberry, a touch of smoky Amaro, and it's finished off with St. Germain. It's a Rocker Rye Manhattan at Sal's Tomato Pies on Livingston. Ask for it by name, As Long as There's Whiskey. You can also enjoy Rocker Spirits at the Wisco and Tiny's Tap on Willie Street. You must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Get ready to get local. Saturdays at 11 a.m., Dane by Local at 92.7 FM Devil Radio bring you Let's Get Local, a new program featuring area businesses and nonprofits that make our community unique and special. So tune in Saturdays and go local, Madison.
I am once again asking you to listen to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM. I believe they have the moral fiber to create a progressive movement in Wisconsin and indeed in America.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Come on down to the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg, Wisconsin, just outside of Madison, one of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars. It's happy hour, baby.
We got the proprietor at the back of the bar here with Dom and Crude. It is Hawk Sullivan. Hawk, man, thanks for having us at another little bar soiree. This one at the Atomic Koi. Number 3, I guess. We've had 3 already. The Jade Monkey. No, number 2.
Number two.
And 2 of 4.
Did I see Dom running off to the bathroom at 420?
I don't think he was going to the bathroom, Hawk.
I got a vape, man.
I thought I saw him run over there. What? Oh.
Hey, Hawk, thanks once again for hosting us, man. It's good to be back. It seems like a very, very long time since we were last here. I think we were still at the Heartless radio gig up the street.
Were you right across the street there?
Before they decided not to renew the contract. Right. So it's great to be back, man. Appreciate you hosting.
It looks the same, right?
Glad you renewed the contract. No, the wallpaper back in this corner.
Oh, is that different?
I think it's different.
Nope, it's the same.
Is it? Is it?
It's lit a little differently now.
Oh, perhaps.
Wait, maybe you
maybe
went off.
I am
you were in the 420 break. Is that what happened? Did you
No, man. I was inviting you on the air.
Oh my God.
I've always loved the fact you got the fish tanks incorporated right in the decor here at the Atomic Koi. But that little cubby hole, the booth section, quite intimate. Looks like it could be a good
It
time.
is. I don't have any cameras back there.
Better that way.
Good to know.
Better that.
Yeah, I have cameras everywhere else, and maybe I shouldn't install them back there.
Now, were any of your children conceived in the back booth area of the Atomic Koi?
No.
All right, good to know. But Hawk, I do, obviously this is a very unique space and I love it. But one thing I think is different for me is lots of rainbows going on.
Oh my God,
here
yeah. So my manager had this pride party right at the end of June, right?
Yeah.
The last day of June. And then he put all this stuff up the day before. And then it was funny because Angie, my bartender today, was like, it's been up the whole month of July. And I'm like, but it looks nice. I don't know. I guess we'll leave it up for the end of the month. Yeah.
First month of Pride?
Yeah, that's right. Man.
Pride year, man. I'm all right with
That's
it. Like,
right.
it was funny because it's a funny story is when we were building the Jade Monkey, it was a summertime and we were like, there's a bunch of dudes out like doing construction out in front, with their shirts off. And there was a rumor that the Jade Monkey was a gay bar. Like people came up and they're like, so we heard it's going to be a gay bar. And I basically said, yep. Because I assume anybody who is not okay with it being a gay bar is that a customer I don't want anyhow.
Right.
I'm like, well, I don't want you as a customer anyhow. So yeah, it's going to be a gay bar. So sometimes it's fun to hang stuff like gay pride stuff to kind of weed out some of, maybe the clientele I don't want.
Well, I love it, man. It's very inviting.
I'm going to keep it up till the end of the month, and maybe we'll remember next year to hang it at the beginning of June, and not the end of June.
Now, Do you ever have any sort of what do they have at Brady Street, Tom? It's a hell of a good time at the end of the Brady Street affair. They have
the drag queen.
Yeah.
The drag queen
Have we ever had that? No, but they do that there.
That could be fun.
Oh, I've been back in the old. If you're old like me in Madison, it was the New Bar where Hotel Washington was and stuff. It was a very cool place, and they would have like amateur night.
Yeah.
So you could go dressed in drag, drink free all night, and then sing a song and stuff.
go to your performance. Yeah.
You know, in Madison, there's not a lot of places, frankly, like that.
Well, there's really not. I mean, in Milwaukee when we did it, it was specifically for the Brady Street Festival. So
okay. So it was
several stages, and on one of the stages,
but it
at
was
the end, at
so
night,
fun.
I'm sure they're all. The couple of times I went to the New Bar, it was hilarious.
Yeah, there's a couple of gay bars in Milwaukee. Will have nights like that where the performers come out and do it. My kids watch. My daughter and my wife Steph watch RuPaul, all the RuPaul show, and that show's been on for a really long time. RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
and it's amazing how it's changed from when it first got on the air as a little budget. You look at the sets, and now now it's a big production. It's a big deal. It's getting tons of ratings, tons of advertisers.
And kids, when you talk to kids about like sexuality and stuff, they're so cool with stuff.
They're so
like
chill about it.
They're so like, and when I was a kid, so in high school, we maybe knew one guy that was out. It's like this guy. He was like, he's definitely gay. But you definitely knew there was way more gay people, and it's so nice that like they're able to, at least in Madison for the most part, feel comfortable just being there, being whoever they are. And it's pretty cool to see, I actually have some gay friends that say, it's tough because there's no gay clubs, but that's because gay people feel more comfortable out in other bars in Madison, that they don't necessarily need it, which can hurt the gay club scene because it's nice to have a good gay club, right? So all my bars obviously are extremely welcoming of gay people and straight people and anybody in between. If you want to be a mega guy and come in, good luck with that. I don't, I won't not serve you, but good luck.
Now, have you had any issues with vaccinations or mask mandates or things of the sort? Obviously, that has become a real political issue. What's your take on that as a small business owner, Hawk?
I mean, we're lucky in Dane County. I choose to live in Dane County and Madison very specifically for the reasons that, we're pretty liberal here. We like science, and so it has made it easy to run my business being in Dane County, relatively speaking, because I know that the vast majority of people in here right now have probably been vaccinated and are probably telling the truth about being vaccinated. So, yeah. It makes it easy.
Sullivan, the fine proprietor of the Atomic Koi. We are partying at the Atomic Koi. It's the 4 o'clock happy hour. Hawk, thanks for having us, man. Can't wait to do next month. Are we doing?
We're going to do Hawks on State next month.
Hawks on State in the month of August. But this party ain't over yet. Taking you all the way up to Game 6 in the Milwaukee Bucks. Next up, Michael Cummins from the Isthmus. They're going back in print in the month of August. That'll be Pride Month. Day 69.
That's
Come
right.
back. More Devil's Advocates live at the Atomic Koi.
Thanks, Hawk.
Pride year.
Talk it up, man.
Friends don't let friends spread fake news. Make sure to follow Devil Radio on Facebook and Twitter and stay up to date with the most important stories of the day.
Welcome to Family Feud on Max Inc. Radio. I'm your host, Rob Roberts. Rocker, we asked 100 Madisonians, what is the favorite part of Max Inc. Radio?
Oh, that's easy, Rob. Live music performed in the Devil's Lair every Saturday night.
The survey says, number 2. So close, Rocker. Jimmy Kane for the win. What is your favorite part of Max Inc. Radio?
Local music.
That's right, Jimmy. Listen to local music every Saturday from 6 p.m. to midnight on Devil Radio 92.7 FM.
Hey, Dom, how many palindromes can you name in 30 seconds?
Race car, mom, dad, reefer, kayak, level. Did I say mom already?
You're forgetting one really important one.
Zero res.
Not only is it the coolest palindrome ever, it's also our favorite.
Right, I remember. Why is that again?
They advertise with us.
Zero res, my favorite palindrome.
And carpet cleaner.
Get
the best carpet cleaning ever. Schedule your carpet cleaning online at zeroresmedicine.com. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Rebound. I'm Jackie Quinn with an AP News Minute. Stock values came roaring back today on Wall Street, making up much of the lost ground from yesterday's COVID jitters. The Dow rose almost 550 points. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ each gained back about 1.5%. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell imploring unvaccinated Americans to get the COVID-19 shot. He's warning of a possible return to last year's shutdowns if people refuse to protect themselves. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Rand Paul duked it out today with infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci, after Paul accused Fauci of lying.
Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly, and I want to say that officially.
Jeff Bezos has made it into space on Blue Origin's first manned flight. The capsule landed about 10 minutes later in West Texas. I'm Jackie Quinn.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children. How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back and a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. And 724.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Republican lawmakers in the Wisconsin legislature are proposing legislation that would lower the age to obtain a concealed carry permit in Wisconsin from 21 to 18 and allow permit holders to have guns and vehicles on school grounds. The proposals have been introduced in previous legislative sessions and are not expected to receive support from Governor Tony Evers. Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes joins the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate today, joining a crowded field of candidates looking to unseat incumbent Senator Ron Johnson. Barnes entered the race with a campaign launch video this morning, promising to change the game. The Devil's Advocates radio show will be broadcasting live this afternoon from the Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Join the Devil's Advocates for their next stop on the Summer of Love and stick around for a listener reception after the show. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Kicking ass and taking names since the Wisconsin Uprising. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Tuesday to us all, Dom. The 4 o'clock happy hour, it rolls on from the Atomic Koi, partying in a bar with a lot of fine folks. And we've been joined by a fine guest here at the table. He is Michael Cummins from the Isthmus. Michael, welcome back to the Devil's Advocate. It's been some time, man.
Hey, thanks. Long time. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Michael.
I got to admit, I have not picked up the Isthmus in some period of time. It's been out of publication, Michael.
Yeah, for 15 months now, I think. Yeah, March of 2020, we were chugging along, and suddenly it's seemingly out of nowhere, the pandemic basically took us down. Much of our ad revenue relied, of course, on bars and restaurants. And when they closed down, they stopped advertising.
Right.
And, we were a free publication. You could pick up all around Dane County. And without that advertising, we just could not go on in print form. It was a very, very dark time. And, I think it was 23 full-time staffers laid off in one day.
Wow.
just like that.
Wow.
It was happening all, it's not just happening all over the place. In a lot of local media, not just local media though, every business was hit hard. It looked like it might be the end, frankly, for us. But just on a shoestring crew of volunteers, we kind of kept the website going. We were able to get some advertising. Our advertisers were terrific, by the way. Many of them saying, hey, the moment we come back, we'll be back with you.
Yeah.
Many advertising on the website to help keep us going. So we started posting content, and really asking our readers for help. And just an incredible outpouring, from the folks around Dane County to come out and help us keep going through this difficult time. We were fortunate enough that our former owners, Red Card Media, they actually gifted us the intellectual property.
Wow.
Isthmus Brand. Yeah, no kidding. It was very, very generous gift of it. So we suddenly found ourselves set up to maybe continue on. It looked like we could possibly pull this off. And a big thing that we heard from readers right off the bat, is we need you back in print. Everyone loves the website. Website's great. However, there's nothing quite like, wandering down the street in downtown Madison and picking up a fresh Isthmus on Thursday. So we've been working very, very hard, mostly on volunteer labor, to make that happen. And the huge news is August 5th, it's finally coming. So, for those of you who live anywhere in Dane County, please go pick up a copy. We're going to start on a monthly schedule, first Thursday of every month, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe we go back to weekly.
And Michael, what did the distribution numbers look like pre-pandemic, and what is the anticipated publication number post-pandemic?
Yeah. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. It's not going to be quite where it was.
Sure.
It'll be, I'm going to say between 50 and 75% in terms of distribution. I think there's a good chance if you go to the place you used to get Isthmus,
right,
it'll be waiting there for you on August 5th.
Nice.
Can't guarantee everywhere, not everywhere. But again, this is something where we definitely have ambitions. We see signs that we can come all the way back with the help of our readers, the help of our wonderful advertisers, and folks like you helping us get the word out.
Michael Cummins from the Isthmus. They're going back into print on August 5th of 2021. Long time coming, eagerly anticipated. Congratulations to the Isthmus for persevering. We know something about persevering through the pandemic.
Right.
My first experience as a journalist was in print. I was an editor at the university paper in college, and those were some late nights, man. You would stay up all night, and if there was some breaking news that merited the coverage, sometimes we'd go to press at 4 or 5 in the morning, and you'd turn in that proof sheet. Nothing felt better in the world than turning in that proof sheet. Do you have any special affinity for print, even though it's perhaps the oldest of all the journalistic outlets?
I not only have, I was a columnist for Isthmus for, and hope, maybe will be again for about 6 years before it went down. There's nothing quite like going and seeing your own name in print. Online's great and all that. There's something that feels a little bit transitory about it though. But I do have in my closet a big pile of Isthmuses with my stuff in it. And I keep thinking maybe I should put that somewhere safe, because I know that all my life, that's going to be the thing that I go back to and I'm proud of. Yeah. Maybe I'm old school that way, but nothing like having that feel of that newsprint in my hands. And hopefully the younger generation coming up will get some of that appreciation too.
Michael
Cummins from the Isthmus. What's obviously a smaller local publication, but we've seen the industry, over the years, let alone with the pandemic, consolidate and people get laid off, and some of these poor journalists, and we rely on journalists. We've quoted your pieces quite a bit, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and Madison, the Cap Times, and Up North News, and the Wisconsin Examiner. There's lots of places to go get good journal, people that actually research and write stories. And when people say, oh man, we love your show, we love what you do, it's like, well, we totally appreciate that. But what we're doing a lot of the times, Michael, is reading other people's work, you know, and then jawboning about it. You know, if it was up to us to go and grab the story, create it, and then talk about it, I mean, there would be 2 stories a week. You know, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of work getting put into this thing that, you know, folks like us and other products rely on. We read these, and those are local ones, and certainly the national publications. Well, how do you see it? What do you see for local print journalism going forward? I mean, do you think there is a place long term for, you know, this focused local journalism that perhaps it's seemingly everyone's going away from because you got to hire local people to do the local work?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we're in a lot of trouble if local journalism doesn't survive. You know, in 2018, Brookings did a study looking at places where local newspapers closed down and looking at the financing costs for borrowing for those municipalities. And they established a causal connection between there being local journalists keeping an eye on city government and how much that city government had to pay for financing. It's a real impact, not just a correlation, but a causation, establish a causation. It's a real impact. And if you just have folks like been happening a lot, kind of, you know, they're based in Los Angeles and they're kind of pretending to be in Madison. You know, you hear on the radio, that happens a lot. If you don't have actual local journalists on the ground like we do, you know, really getting in there and questioning people and willing to write, you know, rough stories about our electeds. I hate to say, our elected officials are going to kind of be a field day for them. You know, big danger of that if things don't go better. But I do see, in terms of nonprofit, especially local media, and we converted to a nonprofit once.
And what does that mean?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we actually are now a 501c3. We took the gift of the brand, the business brand that they gave us, and we applied to the IRS for 501c3 status. And, you know, we don't have to pay taxes now, but also we are.
So you're a church then?
We're a church.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But we also do have a mission. We serve the public interest, you know, explicitly now in our, you know, as part of our mission. We always did, you know, but now it's very, very explicit that we do that.
Has that changed the approach of the advertising, let's say?
Underwriting.
Does that give you any, are you limited in the way you can approach the advertising on behalf of clients for the Isthmus, or is it the same old advertising, slightly different business model?
It's only slightly different. It's a little bit inside baseball, but we now, you know, sponsorship, the difference between sponsorship and advertising was something we had to get a crash. None of us know anything about this stuff, you know, before. But we are definitely allowed to print, and I want our advertisers to hear this. We are definitely allowed to print true advertisements. You're welcome to come in. Just because we're a nonprofit doesn't mean that we can't do that. It's treated a little differently from tax perspective, but irrelevant when it comes to potential advertisers.
How about local political journalism? Because that's what I look to the Isthmus for. Dylan Brogan, I admire a lot of the work he's done on behalf of the Isthmus. He's probably one of my favorite local journalists, and there's very few local journalists. At Madison, there's very, very few. I know a lot of the outlets around the state send reporters to Madison, but in terms of local journalists in the Madison marketplace, I mean, Matt DeFore and a handful of others, but there's not a lot, Michael.
No, they little by little, you would see them at, you know, Wisconsin State Journal or Cap Times, just little by little, it was pared down. Fortunately, Dylan is still very much with us. And I believe he is doing the cover story for the August 5th issue, which is very exciting.
Nice.
I actually don't know what it is yet. I'm looking forward to it, just like everyone, to see what it comes to. But Dylan's the kind of guy, you know, who you've seen throughout the years. There are no sacred cows for him, you know. When it comes to good government, and it's is that
no, I concur.
Yeah, he is basically, you know, does not matter what it is. He is just dogged in pursuit of making sure that government in Dane County stays good.
And as a state level journalist, I've noted Dylan's articles before on state level politics. I mean, the city of Madison really has a certain responsibility as the home of state governance. If we don't have good political reports coming out of this marketplace, I don't know where you're going to get good reporting out of. So I guess that, to my perception, is also a perspective I see for the Isthmus because I've always turned to the Isthmus for state level political insights.
Yep. Yeah.
Hopefully more of that coming, Mike.
We're gonna keep going. We have a lot of the old people and even some very exciting new people. Some younger folks coming and writing for us now.
Michael, the former guy in the last administration made a lot of hay. You know, the press is the enemy of the people, right? And we've seen the reports coming out.
So you're talking Trump, not Walker.
Right. Yes, nationally, Trump. And we've seen now this Justice Department under Biden saying, okay, DOJ, we're not going to go after, journalist records and those kinds of things. So when we talk about journalism and news in the national context, there's a lot of doubt being sowed by Republicans specifically, and the former president who lost, and he was on this early, and you see other politicians picking this up. How accurate do you think their grievances and their criticism may be, and how do you think it impacts just your average person's sense if they're hearing a politician that they may revere or respect, or hell, any politician talk about news organizations in that sense?
Yeah, I think that it's had a huge impact among a lot of the folks around. And it's a little bit, of course, journalists are the exact opposite, of course, of the enemy of the people. I'm sorry, but if you're someone who is in government and you want to do what you want to do and don't want to be responsive to the people, don't want to be responsive to ethics, don't want to be responsive to good government, then of course you're going to not like journalists, right? I mean, yeah, why would you?
They're asking all these questions. They won't go away. They won't leave you alone.
Yeah. Well, that's what journalists are there for. That's why we have, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, specifically, we have free speech. We have journalists specifically protected in the Bill of Rights. It's because elected officials, power breeds corruption, and something has to be there to put it in check.
And if they can, they'll arrest you and drag you away for doing nothing. And if they can, they'll spy on you. They'll do everything they can.
Absolutely.
And this is in this country with the Republican administration, both here on the state level under Scott Walker, when he arrested all the journalists, me included, and of course under Donald Trump, when that DOJ, they're spying on all these journalists that were doing stories that they perceived as being against them.
Yeah. I always tell people, don't think it can't happen here. For one thing, it already kind of is, and don't ever feel too safe. Once you put your guard down, that's basically the end of it.
Man, I got eyes in the back of my head. I'm always looking over my shoulder because somebody's always coming for me. Michael Cummins from the Isthmus, the newly in print Isthmus. Find it on newsstands August 5th. Very exciting news. Now a nonprofit. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here at the Opoien. Come back with us. We're going to bring on another fine sponsor, our friend Chad's Design Build. He is the official sponsor of the Summer of Love on Feel the Love right here at the Opoien. Come back, more Devil's Advocates.
So sweet, so fine, so nice. Oh my, my mind, my mind. Oh, sugar.
Reading is good. You are the enemy of the people.
The Devil's Advocates are taking the political party to the Opoien in Fitchburg as the Summer of Love continues. Join the Devil's Advocates live broadcast Tuesday, July 20th, 2 to 5 p.m. from the Opoien in Fitchburg, one of Hawk's finer neighborhood bars. Join our Devil Radio family. Enjoy the political party to follow, see old friends, and make new ones. Come let your freak flag fly at the Opoien. Tuesday, July 20th, broadcast at 2. Thanks to Chad's Design Build for sponsoring the Summer of Love.
Chad's Design Build is proud to sponsor the Summer of Love on Devil Radio. We are committed to our community to demand better for each and every person. Doing the right thing isn't necessarily easy or inexpensive, but when we take the time to listen and learn, we can build a better community. Thoughtful remodeling is a lot like building an effective, progressive coalition. It takes patience, intelligence, and love. Experience helps too. Thank you, Joe Biden, and thank you, Devil Radio. On behalf of Chad's Design Build, here's to the Summer of Love.
Read all about it. Hey, what's going on? Oh, didn't you hear? Knuckleheads is moving locations, but not to worry. Knuckleheads will still be on State Street and your best shop for CBD and wellness. And it's going to be at 520 State Street on ground level, which is 100% handicap accessible. Stop by the new digs from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. any day of the week and get 15% off when you mention Devil Radio. I'm Lando Commando, and I'll see you there at our new location, 520 State Street.
Extra, extra!
I've already guaranteed this will be my last term. I'm doing this because I want to solve these problems.
Was it problem solving when you blocked COVID relief or when you downplayed the insurrection?
I want to do it because I'm so concerned about the direction of this country. I've got something to offer.
Like becoming a hydroxychloroquine salesman?
I'll go home, smile on my face, realizing I'd left it all on the field.
You must be exhausted.
6 years from now, I'll for sure be going home.
We'll hold you to your word, Senator. Go home.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
I find your lack of Devil Radio 92.7 disturbing. Do not fail me again.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. It's happy hour. You can still come down and join us. The Atomic Koi in Fitchburg. Come on down. Drinks are flowing.
Is it okay to cheer for us? Because we are super cool.
We can cheer.
I want to thank our most recent guest, a fine one, Michael Cummins from the Isthmus, going back into publication on August 5th. Congratulations for persevering through the pandemic.
Right.
And Dominic, we've got one of our fine sponsors. We are joined right now at the table, back at the bar, by Chad Spate from Chad's Design Build. They are the official sponsor of the Summer of Love. Chad, welcome back, man. I hope you've been feeling the love, brother.
So happy to be here. Feeling the love.
Yeah, thanks, Chad.
Lots of people here feeling the love today. They're waiting on Dirty Dom. So, Chad, thank you so much for jumping in and being a part of this. Getting out into the community again, it feels really good. And we've been doing lots of live events. Beaver Dam on Thursday. I was on Maxwell Street Days on Saturday. Here we are at the Atomic Koi on Tuesday. And this summer's not even close to being done, Chad.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels good to see the people again. And there's a lot of people here. And, you know, I'd like to think we're the stars of the show, but they're really here to meet each other and to hang out with each other and commiserate. Chad, people have been missing the people.
Oh, yeah. We have to, you know, help each other and support each other. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's what your station's about. That's what our movement is about, you know, and love is what it's about too. So
love is in the air. Chad, people have been stuck in their home for so long, like a year and a half in some cases. Some people don't quite feel safe to come out despite vaccinations, maybe pre-existing conditions, whatever the case may be. But for those stuck in their house, it has been a hell of a crazy real estate market. I'm married to a real estate appraiser. Homes are soaring in price.
Oh, yeah.
It seems ridiculous, at least to my perception, what people are paying for homes.
Right.
And we got a couple of realtors here. No offense to our friends at Solidarity. I'm sure they're trying to guide their clients.
Oh, you bet.
But it's a hard decision to make to try to move up or buy a first house even. Chad, how many people have reached out to your firm, Chad's Design Build, and said, you know what, we're going to stay put. Let's make this home better. That's kind of, you're in that business, are you?
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. And though I do look often enough at a home that someone is thinking about buying because they have projects that they know they want to do if they buy that house. But certainly people have been focused on trying to make the home they have right now a place that better serves their needs. And that's been a big part of what we've been doing, certainly.
Chad, how far out, if you don't mind me asking, is Chad's Design Build in terms of taking on new clients? Are we looking at the presidential election time frame or something a little sooner than that?
Well, so it's probably a month before we have a conversation on the phone. And then it'll be, if they sign up for our planning and design services, it'll be about 5 months until we're able to help with that. And realistically, it's going to be 12 to 18 months from contacting us until a project could possibly
until there's a backhoe in the backyard.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
I mean, that's a hell of a lead time, man.
It is. But you know, right now, like windows and cabinets are 5 months out. So even if you knew exactly what you wanted and we could order them tomorrow, we will not have them to install until the new year, which is I don't remember being in this situation ever.
Chad, I got some friends that are builders, and one of their big complaints of late, and conservative leaning builders, because they're making money doing what they're doing.
Lance,
and Troy and others. Plywood. Some of the basics, shipping. I mean, some of these the inflationary costs associated with building right now, as explained to me, have been through the roof. What's your experience been?
So, plywood is going for $80 to $100 a sheet, and it was $20 to $30 not that long ago. And that's just, so the good news is that I think things peaked, and now they're starting to head back down because supply is catching up. And
simply a sourcing problem.
Back. Even though we are crazy busy and we're just trying to get materials so that we can actually do the work we've been hired to do, which is our biggest problem right now. Some people are deciding, I'm going to wait because this is a crazy expensive time to do that project. So I think a lot of people that were do-it-yourselfers who were just going to the lumberyard, they're like, no, not going to pull the trigger on this.
Right.
Chad, what about the home improvement and trying to project what that may do to the home's value? We'd like to think if we're doing a major remodeling project, we're investing in our home.
Sure.
And perhaps at some point in the future, we'd get return on that investment.
Yeah.
How difficult is that under the current real estate conditions where we see rapid inflation?
Right. Well, so, right now things are almost in equilibrium because, housing values are going up quickly and the cost to do work is going up quickly. So I think it's all going to fall back a little bit. But the reality is we have a housing shortage. We definitely have an affordable housing shortage. So things are going to happen. And people are going to have to address their needs in their homes. And so I'm not that concerned. I wouldn't tell people not to think about buying or improving a home right now. It's just you have to find the right person or the right house. And,
And it should all equal. The pent-up demand, coming out of a 1.5-year pandemic and hopefully not going back or dragging it out any longer than we have. If some of these sourcing problems get leveled out, we should see some at least flattening of those expenses.
Absolutely. And I think some articles I've read and just trends I've noticed, I'm guessing by the fall things will be back to something that's recognizable. We're hoping that, certainly. So,
Chad, we're almost out of time here. I've got to admire and commend the fact that as a businessman, you're living your progressive principles. You're supporting Devil Radio. You're the official sponsor of the Summer of Love. Dude, I appreciate anyone that's out there living it in the very same way you are.
Hey, you bet.
Is it ever scary being out there so publicly?
Well, I think that, we have a short time on this earth, and I think it's important to put our best, our values forward and do the best we can. And I appreciate what you guys do. And I'll just say, I'm getting ready to turn 55 on August 1st. I share a birthday with Jerry Garcia.
Oh,
so
that's way better than sharing a birthday with Donald Trump.
Oh man, I feel for you, man. But see, now you know that a friend of the devil is a friend of mine.
Nice.
Chad Spate, we've used that song many times over, even occasionally for Senator Ron Johnson. Thank you, Chad Spate. You're certainly a friend of ours. We appreciate Chad's Design Build, the official sponsor of the Summer of Love. We appreciate our fine guests today. They included John Nichols from The Nation, Michael Cummins from the Isthmus, and of course, the fine proprietor here, Hawk Sullivan. We're at the Atomic Koi. This party ain't even nearly over. It's just getting started. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Fancy Brian. And thanks to all the fine folks coming out to party with the Devil's Advocates tonight. Drinks on Dom.
Woohoo! Hey, what's that? It looks like a big
Woody!
Oh, my Lord. Look at that thing.
So big.
I've seen bigger. That's just a little prick. Jackass.
Hey folks, Stephanie Miller here. As an enlightened progressive, you know how important it is to do business in accordance with your politics. That's why Solidarity Realty is my favorite real estate firm in Madison. Solidarity Realty is a local independent realty company that lives their values. They provide